Yo legends! Welcome back to the channel. Grab your headphones and lock in, because today's story is on another level. Want the next chapter? Drop a comment below, and if the legend continues, I'm bringing it straight to you. Disclaimer: I do not claim ownership of this story. All rights belong to the original creators. Note: I'm constantly tweaking the settings to make it as immersive as possible. One Piece, The Nightmare of the Four Seas. Chapter 81. All the creatures in the pirate world seemed to be able to feel the breath of despair through the sky. Everything was over, and the top fighters in the sea were either destroyed or killed. Even the Mukbatmo, who was so strong that he could freeze time and space and had an advantage in the duel between the same level of strong men, could not do anything to Sami and Mio. Rocks D. Jibuk, damn. I almost thought I was dead. Charlotte Linlin, hey Rocks, you're back. Kaido of Beasts, ahaha. The old captain is really lucky to be able to come back alive from that kind of world without having his soul wiped out. Rocks D. Jibuk, bah, can't you two hope for something good from me? Buddha's Sengoku, how do you feel, Rocks? Buddha's Sengoku, after feeling the power of that god up close, are you confident that you can join forces with the Rocks pirates to do something big? Rocks D. Jibuk, Sengoku, you old silver coin is full of bad intentions. Rocks D. Jibuk, but it does feel like it's hard to be the enemy. Fortunately, the so-called gods in our world are a bunch of trash. Monkey D. Dragon, not necessarily trash. Didn't Tiamu expose the god behind the world government? Rocks D. Jibuk, aha. They feel different. Does the dark man hiding behind the world government have the strength of Takami and Mio? Legal god of war Wo 710 Kai Lisheng, how dare you be rude to Lord M. Rocks D. Jibuk, ho, he's just a bamboo pole. I can't beat Takami and Mio, so how can I kill the dark man behind the world government? Kizaru Borsellino, Kuwa tilde the dead talk with a tough attitude. Rocks was about to mock the new admiral of the navy, but the name and words that inexplicably appeared on the sky made his pupils shrink, and he couldn't help but be shocked. Tokisaki Kurumi, it's really lively, the world where Mr. Rock's lives is really wonderful tilde silence. The entire chat room was dead silent at this time. Everyone was shocked at the identity of the person who was speaking. Is the girl named Tokisaki Kurumi the Tokisaki Kurumi they know? He looked up at the sky, but saw the White Queen, who had gone crazy after falling into despair, swinging her sword at Takami and Mio without any rules. And there was a girl floating in the air with a faint smile on her face. As if she had noticed something, Tokisaki Kurumi showed a bright smile to the people in the pirate world. Even Whitebeard, who was on an Roman 4 drip, felt his blood pressure suddenly rise. He grabbed the Roman 4 drip, pulled out the needle, and cursed. It's hell. Isn't it a ghost? People who were originally on TV suddenly spoke in the real world. The 72-year-old Whitebeard said that he really couldn't stand this stimulation. If Tokisaki Kurumi can come, does it mean that Takami and Mio can come too? After experiencing 800 years of turmoil in Hana no Ma, Im thought he could remain calm in the face of anything. But when he saw Tokisaki Kurumi speaking in the chat room, Im said calm as hell. When he thought that his world might be targeted by the gods, even Im could not muster any resistance, and there was always a feeling of powerlessness in his heart. Tokisaki Kurumi, how can I say this? Tokisaki Kurumi, I am now using the power of the 9 bullets to communicate with you across parallel worlds through rocks as a medium. Kaido of Wano Country couldn't help but shout, Rocks, you bastard, you're still hurting me even after you died. The 9 bullets, the ability is used to communicate with people in different timelines. The bullets that shot at Rocks at the beginning actually had no lethality, they were special ability bullets. Tokisaki Kurumi, it seems that through this strange sky curtain, everyone should have a general understanding of the situation, right? Tokisaki Kurumi, everyone, I wonder if there is any way in your world to stop Takami and Mio? Miss Nightmare, who was hoping for help, was destined to be disappointed. Whitebeard, Gilala, I'm sorry, although I really want to help you defeat that person, we can't do anything. Financial god of war Nasujiro, how can humans compete with gods? Monkey D. Dragon, run away, there is hope only when you are alive. Tokisaki Kurumi, there isn't a single useful suggestion tilde seeing this bunch of nonsense. Kurumi couldn't help shaking her head. They were all praising Takumi and Mio. The people in the parallel world were really useless. As for running away, could it be that she didn't know? She just couldn't run away. Of the 3 parallel worlds in which Takumi and Mio existed, only the Takumi and Mio in this world has not been destroyed. Even if she used the 12 bullets of the Krypton Emperor to go to the past, she could only go to a parallel world where there was no Takumi and Mio and no neighboring world. Of course, it would be great if Mio Takamiya didn't exist. However, I can't see everyone I'm familiar with anymore. Origami who likes to stick to people dreamy, soft and cute girl. 4 series Miku who always likes to play with girls. The taciturn yet surprisingly reliable Rokyuko the dark and venomous black ribbon commander Katori. All of these, I can't see anymore. To read the exciting novels, go to Falu Novel Network. After giving up my past self, is it necessary to continue to live? Miss Kwang Sen said that she couldn't accept the loss of the familiar people and things. Takumi and Mio felt the familiar strange fluctuations and the dazed Kwang Sen and smiled softly. Did this kid, Kurumi, establish a connection with rocks from the parallel world through the power of Kakakete? It's really interesting. As the White Queen attacked frantically, Takumi and Mio shook her head slightly. This child, Shaw, is too loyal. This kind of personality is not suitable for survival in a cruel world. Forget it. Let me, as a mother, end your fantasy! Vientiane Cathedral. Accompanied by a faint floral scent, a strange flower slowly bloomed. The shadow of the girl was holding her hands in front of her chest, slowly letting the flower open. The flower that is about to bloom with its own glory is not the beginning of life, but the announcement of death! Each petal seemed to be made of the essence of death. The moment it unfolded, it completely released a strong breath of death. Even the White Queen couldn't help but feel fear at this sudden embodiment of death. You will definitely die! This is the White Queen's last thought. P.S. I plan to write the next Naruto world a little more crazy. Chapter 82. Sweet pollen blooms from the flower called the Temple of All Things. The concept of absolute death floated across the world, and people from all over the world and the new world smelled the fragrance of jasmine. Oh no, quickly use the armed color domineering to resist. In the flowers of the West Sea, an old man with a flat head shouted loudly. Wrapped in black armament, Haki Pepper, who had once had his head smashed by Garp's punch, looked solemnly at the sudden pollen. When the pollen came into contact with the armed color domineering, it actually bit into it! Even a great pirate like Cone Pepper couldn't hold out for too long. And those ordinary people who were not protected by armed color and came into contact with the pollen had fainted and lay unconscious on the ground. As an SSS level angel, this effect is not too surprising. Ordinary people all over the world, fishmen, including the giants of Elbaf, and even sea kings and people from Sky Island were affected. The weaker ones fell down directly, and even their souls were annihilated in the flowers released by the angel of death. The kind that even the impure world reincarnation can't save! Even if they are a little stronger in the face of this embodiment of death, the difference is just that they can last longer than ordinary people. Tokisaki Kurumi, what a terrible angel! Even the spiritual outfit has become fragile. Whitebeard, amazing power. As expected of Takumi and Mio. Apart from this sentence, Whitebeard really doesn't know what to say. After all, he has been numb with shock. Isn't the shock brought by Takumi and Mio enough? Killing the generals of the 4 emperors in seconds, existing for thousands of years, and decided to destroy the world for fun because he was in a bad mood. The evil gods have such amazing means that it seems not enough to surprise people. Even if Takumi and Mio has the ability to travel through the world, Whitebeard believes it. Rocks D. Jibek, haha. It seems that in your world, not only the high-end combat forces, but even ordinary people are going to die. Kizaru Borsellino, Kuwenai tilde the original elves are really scary. Ivan cough, hee haw. I wonder how Kurumi plans to deal with it. Shiki the Golden Lion, run. In this situation, if you don't escape to other worlds, you will really die. Tokisaki Kurumi, ah. It seems that we are forced into a desperate situation. Kwang Sen took a step forward and shot at the White Queen in a cool and dignified manner. Boom! The time reversal from the fourth bullet affects the White Queen. The White Queen, who faced the concept of death, was saved by Kurumi when her soul was about to collapse. The White Queen leaned her saber on the ground, looking at the buildings around her that were eroded by pollen and became old, and she couldn't help but take a deep breath. The figure of Kwang Sen was reflected in her eyes. After seeing the pure white figure like a god above, the White Queen finally made a choice. Capricorn sword. The White Queen screamed with all her might, risking her life to open a door to another world! This is her last bit of strength! Kwang Sen, go. Don't feel guilty about anything, you've done your best. However, the girl in the blood-black dress just stood there in a daze, without doing anything. The White Queen couldn't help stamping her feet and pushed Kwang Sen into the space door. However, the reason why Kwang Sen was in a daze was not because of the escape, but because of something else. On the big screen of the sky ding, it is detected that the Child of Destiny, Tokisaki Kurumi, is the protagonist of this inventory, and a special reward is given. Please start making your choice! Collect soul fragments through the sky system, revive any elf, and give a single person a chance to escape the parallel world. B. Choose the currently surviving partners, no limit on the number of people, and go to the parallel world together. To read the exciting novels, go to Feilu Novel Network. C. Granted the power to rival Takamiya Mio 3-second version. PS. The parallel world that the Sky Curtain system helps escape from can minimize the risk of being discovered by Samiya Mio. Whitebeard, Kilala, no matter how you look at it, it's a very helpful reward. Red-haired Shanks, indeed, it reduces the risk of being discovered by that god. Kaido of Beasts, I'm more curious about the strength of the one who is comparable to Samiya Mio. Miss Tokisaki Kurumi, who could be in danger at any time, breathed a sigh of relief when she saw these three choices. I choose the second option. I'm going to take the yarn and leave. This is what Kwang Sen thought in his heart. The dead elves are indeed very important to her. However, even Tokisaki Kurumi couldn't decide which one to revive. Moreover, after resurrection, he can only leave this world alone. As for having the strength to rival Takamiya Mio, come on, what can you do in 3 seconds? Zero, and it's just a match, not an instant kill. However, even if you choose the seemingly best option, something that makes Kwang Sen unable to hold back happens. Ding. It is detected that the product of the mixture of Yamadasha and spiritual power cannot survive in a parallel world without neighboring boundaries. The request was rejected to make up for Tokisaki Kurumi's possession of both the Angel Kokotai and the Demon King Kokotai! Ding. Start teleporting Tokisaki Kurumi alone! When Yamadasa opened the space portal, Kurumi disappeared. It seems that I don't know which parallel world I was teleported to by the system. The White Queen was slightly stunned. Has she been abandoned? Haha. It's so pitiful. Sawa Takamiya Mio looked at the pure white military uniform figure in front of her with pity, her eyes slightly turned. Whatever. I've had enough fun killing people to this extent. Just let Yusa and you go. Takamiya Mio said this, not because she suddenly felt guilty. It's just that it's really pleasing to see old friends turn against each other. On the cold face, drops of tears slowly flowed. Kwang San, you abandon yourself! We clearly agreed to work together to fight against the powerful enemy! The black aura slowly emanated from the girl in the pure white military uniform. Chapter 83. Ding. Because of the factors involving higher dimensional existence, the remaining content will no longer be played, and the ending of Parallel World No. 355 has been played! Ding. It is detected that this world is the easiest to block Takamiya Mio's sight, so Tokisaki Kurumi will be teleported to this world. The first one is fine, and people on the sea don't care. After all, everyone in the Sky Curtain has come out to talk in the chat room, and no one knows what will happen if it continues. but the latter one makes most people on the sea feel frightened. Don't think that Tokisaki Kurumi can't last more than 10 rounds in the hands of Takamiya Mio, and she was even teased in the palm of her hand. However, that is an elf with 12 different time abilities. Time acceleration, time stillness, time reversal, summoning clones from different timelines. Any one of these abilities is considered a BUG level, not to mention that Tokisaki Kurumi has them all. 977 Although these abilities take time to activate, Tokisaki Kurumi's time-eating city can completely make up for it. Once Tokisaki Kurumi chooses to help a top-level strongman, it can be said that it affects the pattern of the sea. Apart from anything else, during the war, just a 4-shot bullet at a critical moment can restore the person who should have been fatally injured, which is just like cheating. Absolutely, we cannot let Tokisaki Kurumi join the Four Emperors camp. Sakazuki held the burning red magma in one hand, and the low temperature in the other hand had completely frozen the table. Indeed, if she were to join a certain camp, it would bring about earth-shaking changes to the ocean. Rarely, Aokiji did not oppose Sakazuki's will, but instead expressed his approval with a solemn expression. Wow, the characters in the sky have come to reality. This feeling is so unreal. Kizaru sighed, glanced at the chat room, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Hido, ha ha ha, come to my Wano country. Tokisaki Kurumi, we all want to change this world. Charlotte Linlin, well, we are all women, it's just right for Kurumi to come to my place, and it's convenient to get along with her. Rox D. Gibber, wow ha ha ha. If I hadn't been resurrected, I really wanted to recruit her. Red-haired Shanks, oh my god. Ling, your son is blocked by the Navy. 3 greetings popped up on Charlotte Linlin's forehead. No, she has so many sons. Which son is it? And why did Red Hair know that her son was blocked by the Navy? But soon, Charlotte Linlin knew which son it was. Charlotte Katakuri, oh no, Mom. The Navy is here to grab the pure gold. Monkey D. Dragon, sure enough has the Navy, which once implemented its own justice, become the most useful gun in the hands of the celestial dragons? Akenu Sakazuki, humph, the traitors of the Navy have no right to say that. To be honest, when he learned that Katakuri was blocked by the Navy, Sakazuki was not as happy as he imagined, but felt a little uncomfortable. After all, although the Navy is an organization that exists to eliminate pirates and maintain the stability of the sea, judging from the current situation, there is really no way to refuse the orders of the 5 old men above. In order to get the pure gold, the 5 old men even used Bailey as a threat, forcing the Navy to compromise. They were simply unscrupulous. But at this critical moment, Sakazuki couldn't help but frown when trying to snatch the pure gold from Charlotte Linlin. Who knows what Tokisaki Kurumi will do? What if she is also interested in pure gold? Who did our Navy send to contain Katakuri this time? Sakazuki couldn't help but ask. The 3 admirals were all here, as were 2 admiral candidates and several elite vice admirals. Was there any extra force in the Navy to contain Katakuri? Sakazuki felt at a loss. How could he not know that there were such talents in the Navy? Marshal Sengoku is planning to take action against Katakuri recently, but that will be half a month later. The huge pair of scissors was leaning casually against the door. Next to him was Borsellino, who was wearing a yellow and white striped suit. He was trimming his nails with a pair of nail clippers and talking to Sakazuki without raising his head. What? Our Navy didn't go out. Who put the blame on us? To read exciting novels, go to Falu Novel Network. The hot-tempered ghost spider couldn't help it and slammed the table hard with an angry look on his face. Even if they are from the world government, they can't put all the blame on our Navy. Be quiet. I've sent Xiao Guang over. Borsellino seemed uncomfortable with the sudden loud voice and scratched the back of his head in pain. Xiao Guang. Fusen looked at Kizaru with a strange expression. His eyes were full of envy and jealousy. Why didn't he have such luck to extract the seraphim created by Vegapunk in the parallel world? That's right. The one called Xiao Guang by Kizaru is the Seraphim version of Kizaru with 30% of his combat power. Although the strength is only 30%, the speed of Seraphim is not slow at all. It is just right to replace Kizaru in the tasks in the Marine headquarters. Since having Seraphim, Kizaru's whole body seems to have been loosened. He is so idle that he almost grows a brain. He has nothing to do all day long, just taking a bath, steaming in the sauna, and then smoking a cigar and playing with nail clippers. If he has time, he will go and chat with Vegapunk. Such a day is a paradise for slackers. I really don't know what kind of person would pretend to be a navy to snatch pure gold. Vice Admiral Mole's eyes gleamed sharply. For such a bad behavior, even the world government had gone too far. As a person from another world, Tokisaki Kurumi was standing on the ground in a daze, recalling the last scene on the sky. The blackened Sawa was just like a puppet, obeying Takamiya Mio's nonsense. At this moment, Kurumi, who was wrapped in a JK school uniform, had an idea lingering in her mind. Even if she had the chance to meet Sawa next time, under the deception of that funny guy, they would probably draw their swords against each other in 1.2, right? Gently patting her delicate face, Kurumi tried to squeeze out a smile. Tears had already begun to well up in her eyes. Tears have already, I can't control it and it's falling down. Why? Takamiya Mio, you not only did you kill everyone, you also made Sawa and I become enemies. What a bastard. The spirit in the red and gold eyes gradually faded and the eyes changed from colorful to black and white. Uncontrollable black spiritual power flowed out of Kwang San, whose mind was almost collapsing. The blood-black aura enveloped everything around as if it had lost control and was absorbing everything. The blue sea seemed to have lost its previous beautiful colors at this moment, turning towards a turbid direction, and pieces of dead fish and shrimp gradually floated up, floating with a fishy smell. Chapter 84. Thief, haha. My friends, grab the treasure on the sea. The fat man, who looked like a black pig, was covered with barbs. Just looking at his face, one could feel the viciousness from the inside out. Blackbeard Teach looked at the island surrounded by dozens of warships with fiery eyes and laughed heartily. Blackbeard, wearing a cloak of justice behind him, waved his hands like a clown, as if directing something. The surging firepower of dozens of warships instantly suppressed the troops on the island, leaving Katakuri, who was hiding on the side, helpless. There was no way. Although he could easily destroy these warships, he had to protect his sister. Katakuri couldn't destroy those warships while ensuring that his sister was not injured. Moreover, judging from the breath feedback from the observation color, these people are not weak. Katakuri, wearing a mask, looked bitter. Mom, when can you come? Thief, haha. Little guys, fire hard for me. Dancing with joy, Blackbeard Teach was directing his men to load the shells, with a greedy red light in his eyes. Pure gold, the power of immortality. It really makes people want to grab it. The cloak of justice behind him fluttered in the wind, and Teach's eyes were full of ferocity. The men behind him were all temporarily recruited during the last riot and impelled down. They are all elites. There are quite a few pirates who have mastered the armed color domineering, and there are even some low-end Shichibukai who can rival Moria. Rain Zaliu, Sniper Van Oka, Ship Dr. Du, Kshu and U Hunter Nine-Tailed Fox, the huge battleship San Juan Wolf's partners are not weak. Thinking of this, Blackbeard, who was originally dancing with joy, became even more excited, and his eyes looked at the island with a hint of ferocity. Being recognized as the vice-captain of the Big Mom Pirates. Let's compete with my partners. As for pretending to be a navy, that's even simpler. Frame someone. If it can cause the Big Mom Pirates to go to war with the navy, it would be great. Let's make a mess. The bigger the wind and waves, the more expensive the fish. Only when there is chaos, I will have a chance to fight my way out and realize my ambition step by step. A fierce look flashed across his ferocious face. Bang, bang, bang. Countless shells were aimed at the island to carry out an all-round attack. This posture was even more terrifying than the Navy's demon-killing order. Katakuri couldn't help but grit his teeth, and a red light flashed in his eyes. The observation haki was activated, and he felt that there were several auras in the group dressed as Navy that were not weaker than his. There was another aura, although it didn't feel as strong as my mother's, but the twisted vitality was simply too weird. Katakuri even had a feeling that he couldn't cause any serious damage to him. A bitter smile lingered on Katakuri's lips. He didn't care about the people who attacked them. He only cared about whether he could take his sister away safely this time. Brother Katakuri, I'm scared. The girl with long dark hair tied in a high ponytail. The ponytail was tied with a flower-shaped headband, and the spotted suspender skirt added a touch of charm to the lovely girl. Charlotte Flamp was tearful and acting coquettishly, with an unshakable look of fear in her eyes. It was too scary. The guy who came over with a sword almost chopped off her head with just one sword. Katakuri faintly felt a trace of sharp breath cutting on his skin. His face was solemn, and he did not comfort his sister immediately. His eyes flashing red light clearly captured to the future. Katakuri subconsciously pulled his sister down from the balloon. Then, the sound of a balloon exploding was heard, and a knife quickly swept through the air, heading towards Katakuri without slowing down. Then, the trident made of gold blocked the blade, and a spark flew at the moment of contact. The swordsman, who was holding the cigar and looked very difficult to mess with, walked over slowly. Katakuri's face sank, and he recognized the identity of the person in front of him. Shiryu of the Rain, the former chief of the Impel Down Castle, was once imprisoned by Magellan for being too bloodthirsty and killing sprees. Later, he disappeared after the riot in Impel Down and was suspected to have lost contact. Now it seems that he has been absorbed by the Navy. Katakuri clenched the golden trident defensively, and the golden surface was stained with a deep layer of armed color domineering. What a trouble. This person is not much weaker than him. It is not difficult to guard against the attack of the person in front of him while protecting his sister. To read the exciting novel, go to Falu Novel Network. Even if Katakuri is given a certain amount of time, he can even suppress Shiryu and defeat him. However, on the warship S Aura, and there was also a feeling that it would be very troublesome. If time drags on for too long and they get involved, it will be a question whether Katakuri can get out today. Taking advantage of Katakuri's distraction, a fierce blood-red slash came down with great momentum, and Shiryu, who had hidden his aura, showed a smug smile. Then, without exception, even though he was thinking about how to deal with those guys on the warship, Katakuri still blocked 677 perfectly. Shiryu smiled sinisterly, and with crackling sparks, the sword chopped all the way towards Katakuri's head. Great swordsman! Katakuri withdrew his observation haki from the distant warships and faced the enemy in front of him with a sullen face. Now that's more like it. A fierce smile appeared on Shiryu's lips, and the blade was full of murderous intent, aiming at the vital parts and slashing. Then, Katakuri wielded the golden trident tightly, and the red light in his eyes stared at Shiryu's movements. At the moment when Shiryu was about to stab Katakuri's heart, the powerful armament haki wrapped around his feet and kicked Shiryu out. Then, this kick directly kicked Shiryu on the stone, leaving a human-shaped mark. Hiss! Zilyu took a breath of cold air, with a sinister smile still floating on the corner of his mouth. Not bad, as expected of the vice president of the Big Mom Pirates, he can actually suppress him. This is more exciting. Only by killing the strong can his blood boil. What no one noticed was that the silver hourglass placed next to the sky was replenishing energy at a speed visible to the naked eye. At this speed, it would take half a day to count the next parallel world. Chapter 85. A cute JK girl on an uninhabited island somewhere, panting and collapsing on the grass. Tilde, it seems like I have come to a new world. Tilde, her twin ponytails of different lengths swayed slightly, her face was flushed, and her black hair was wet with sweat, which looked very tempting, making people want to take a bite of this delicate rose. The girl, who was still blackened before, now completely calmed down after a four-shot bullet. After all, if she turned around and lost consciousness like this, it would be too unfair to her sacrificed companions, right? If that Takamiya Mio knew about her reversal, she would definitely not get sympathy. Maybe she would even laugh at her. Humph, no way. The red eyes moved slightly, looking at the huge sky curtain that spanned the four seas in the sky. This is really scary. They took me away directly in Takamiya Mio's reincarnation paradise. This kind of thing is really surprising. To be honest, in the reincarnation paradise of Takamiya Mio, it is not impossible to stop a person from going to the parallel world. It's just that Takamiya Mio, the fun-loving person, is too lazy to do it. After reading the memory of the nobles of a certain island through the one-shot 10 bullet, Tokisaki Kurumi naturally also grasped some information. Inventory of the sky curtain. Tokisaki Kurumi murmured to herself, with a lingering interest in her eyes. It's really interesting. By inventorying the parallel world and asking random questions to issue rewards. Then, where does the energy come from? Tokisaki Kurumi thought of this question very naturally, and she deeply understood a truth. The stronger the ability, the higher the price to pay. Like her ability, it takes time to activate. The energy that supports Takamiya Mio to destroy the world and fully deploy the 3 SSS-level angels is the power of an entire neighboring world, as well as the power of souls trapped in the neighboring world for thousands of years. Such a huge light curtain. Can't it be solar power? It doesn't seem quite like it. When Tokisaki Kurumi saw the silver hourglass, she confirmed the memories she read one by one, and a guess emerged in her mind. Could it be that emotions are the energy? Or is it faith? Before, it took a week for a new picture to emerge, but now it takes less than half a day to even begin to expose a new parallel world. The speed at which time changes is really something that makes people want to explore. Licking her dry lips, Tokisaki Kurumi looked at this uninhabited desert island in confusion. Allah, I suddenly came to a strange world. What should I do? The JK girl seemed to be in distress, with her index finger against her delicate lips. But in the next second, the cute JK girl suddenly hammered her palm, as if she had thought of something. A charming smile was drawn between her seductive lips, and a dangerous light flashed in her crimson eyes. If you're alone, it's easy to mess things up no matter how you look at it, right? In that case, come out. Me! As the shadow of a huge Roman clock appeared behind him, black smoke entered the flintlock, aiming at the heart. With the effect of the shock force, a smile of determination appeared on Kwang Sen's mouth. The 4 emperors, the 3 admirals, the 5 elders, the 7 warlords of the sea, the revolutionary army. How can these messed up things be enemies with me who controls the power of time? Without the existence of elves, in this world, I am a god. You can say that Kwang San is too proud of herself or too arrogant. Anyway, in this world, there is no existence that can pose a threat to Kwang Sen's life. Hide in the shadow space and let the clone consume you. No matter how strong you are, what can you do? I will consume you to death sooner or later. Even Kaido, the king of beasts, will be defeated under the continuous attacks of Kwang San's team. Physical strength is not infinite, but Kwang San's reserve of time is still quite sufficient. At least now that Kwang San has enough time, it is not a problem to consume 2 sea emperors. Marine Headquarters WTF. Katakuri was seriously injured and the pure gold was taken away. Was this done by our navy? The voices were getting louder and louder. Sengoku, who was sitting in the first seat, widened his eyes and squeezed the Den Den Mushi until it screamed. The other Den Den Mushi, a seraphim with the face of a young Kizaru, was lazily basking in the sun and reporting to Sengoku. Wow it's really scary. To read exciting novels, go to Falu Novel Network. Mr. Janguo, you didn't see it. The whole island was bombarded by shells. Before I could even stand firm, the island sank. However, Judging from the traces of the fight, the person who fought Katakuri seemed to be a great swordsman. Go a little earlier, I guess I will have to stay there. Kizaru's seraph wearing sunglasses spoke in an exaggerated tone, with his thumb and index finger tightly pressed together, and Den Mushi also imitated him. Marshal Zhan Guo, do you think this month's salary is before the seraph version of Kizaru finished speaking? Sengoku decisively hung up the phone. With an exaggerated pout on his wretched little face and scratching the back of his head, the white-haired and black-skinned Kizaru looked regretful. What a stingy boss Tilda at this time in the Navy headquarters. Sengoku pounded the table angrily. Damn it! Not only did they take away the pure gold, but they also framed our Navy. Which idiot came up with this? You think the sea isn't chaotic enough? Zhan Guo couldn't help cursing inwardly, with a haze hidden under his toed glasses. Ding, start counting the next parallel world. Ding, abnormal fluctuations detected in parallel world. No. 666, collecting intelligence. Ding, intelligence gathering completed, officially open. I am Lao a half. I am Lao on the vast sky nor Jiao that even blocked the sun. After waiting for half a day, a round of inventory of Kai finally started again. 50 years ago, two powerful men who had been frozen for 300 years in Wano country woke up and brought a new energy system called chakra to the sea. People who have the talent to use chakra gradually learn to use ninjutsu under the instruction of two extraordinary masters. The sea is in chaos again because of the power of chakra. The abnormal ninja who spits fire and water at will has created a new wave on the sea. Due to different philosophies, the two masters who taught chakra split up after the battle. One person chose to join the Navy and bring new peace and justice to the sea. The other person chooses to become a pirate and gather heroes from all over the world. 50 years later, a three-way balance of power was formed on the sea. 12 emperors, the king's 18 bronze gongs, the Navy's 5 ninja divisions say goodbye to atomic. Chapter 89. Zhan Guo opened his mouth wide, looking at the subtitles that appeared on the screen, his face pale. The sea in the parallel world is so full of disasters. Thinking of the 12 top powers doing whatever they want on the sea and stirring up trouble, Zhan Guo felt a headache for the naval marshal of the parallel world. By the way, will the new world have enough territory for the 12 sea emperors? Zhan Guo thought of this problem and breathed a sigh of relief. If there is not enough territory, those lawless pirates will definitely have disagreements and cause conflicts. In this way, the Navy will have a chance to reap the benefits. Fortunately, the situation has not yet reached the worst step. East China Sea, Goa Kingdom. The white-haired man with a black eye patch covering one eye was standing lazily on the podium, giving a lecture to the ninjas who were about to graduate from the Shinakara Ninja School. The extremely evil forces led by Uchiha Madara gathered the power of 6 sea emperors and dominated the new world. So, who are the 4 top emperors of the world? Kakashi yawned, looked at the roster, and randomly selected a pink-haired girl to answer. Sakura, please answer this question. The pink-haired, green-eyed girl stood up confidently, looking like a top student, and answered the question calmly. The 2 foxes, the southern emperor and the northern emperor among them, the most vulnerable sea emperor in the 4 seas is the poison emperor of the south. The strongest sea emperor is the Tushan clan, which has 3 leaders. Kakashi 027 didn't react much to Sakura's answer. He nodded slightly and motioned for Sakura to sit down. The dead fish eye looked at another person in the classroom. It was a little boy with yellow hair who was sleeping soundly on the table. So, what is the current situation on the sea? Naruto, please answer this question. Kakashi tapped the wooden tabletop lightly with his index finger, but did not get the response he wanted. Naruto yawned as usual, and the classmates around him slowly woke him up. What? Is get out of class over? The yellow-haired kid rubbed his sleepy face, stretched himself, and finally perked up. But the moment he opened his eyes, a pair of wide-open dead fish eyes were staring at Naruto. Ah! A scream broke through the sky in the classroom. Uzumaki Naruto seemed to have seen a ghost. He took out his slippers and slapped the white-haired boy in the face. Snapped exclamation. A slipper mark instantly appeared on the yellow-haired kid's face. With just this tiny trick, he wanted to launch a sneak attack on a vice admiral of the Navy. Isn't that underestimating Kakashi too much, Naruto? Did you go to the women's bathhouse with Jiraiya-senpai again last night? Why do you always look so listless? The dead fish eye's eyebrows twitched slightly, and he looked helpless at the yellow-haired boy in front of him. No way. Mr. Kakashi, please stop talking nonsense. Naruto retorted with a red face, and he seemed to have noticed the strange looks from the girls around him, and steam was coming out of his face all of a sudden. Oh my, that's really bad. You're still lying even at this point. Yesterday, I saw two ghosts, one big and one small, lying on the window at the entrance of the bathhouse. The girl in a white short-sleeved shirt was staring at a yellow-haired guy with a look of scum on her face. Hey, saying, "You're going too far. It was because of you that suddenly yelled yesterday that teacher Jiraiya and I were chased by those ants for a long time." Naruto clenched his hands in protest, with a look of grievance on his face. Hibiki did the right thing. If he met someone as rude as Naruto and Jiraiya, he should punish them severely. It would be best to send him to Tushin and be a low-level servant for hundreds of years. The blonde girl with her arms around her chest, tall and slender, with a breast that has just taken shape, stands out among the girls. The person who spoke was the daughter of the flower shop owner, a young lady who seemed to be of noble origin. Yamanaka Ino. Hey, hundreds of years is too much. Regardless of Naruto's protest, a look of disdain appeared on that delicate and beautiful face. What a low-class person who can't even suppress his own desires. Yamanaka Ino sighed slightly, speechless about this stupid kid in her class. Come on, who would have a crush on a kid who often goes to the women's bathhouse to peek? Moreover, although they are the same age, Ino is a head taller than Naruto. Miss Ino, who comes from an excellent family, would not look down on such a short person. Naruto, please write a self-review and send it to the office. Kakashi sighed and lamented how he had to deal with such a problem student. He rolled his eyes and said something like he was annoyed, ending the dispute. In the chat room, Rox D. Gibber, haha, this kid must be annoying in the sea, right? Boa Hancock. Anyway, the kind of people who peek into the women's bathhouse are terrible. Blackbeard teach, thief, ha. A guy who can't even control his lower body has no right to compete with me for the throne of Pirate King. Akenu Sakaski, it looks like this should be the navy of a parallel world. I didn't expect it to be this kind of stuff. It's really embarrassing. Ghost Spider, it's more than embarrassing, it's simply morally corrupt. Hyusheashin, if this kind of kid is placed in Master Zephyr's elite training camp, there are plenty of ways to deal with him. Black-armed Zephyr, oh, he's just as annoying as Borsalino. Many people couldn't help but express their disgust for the yellow-haired kid. After all, who would have a good impression of someone who peeks into the women's bathhouse? But at this moment, a certain girl was staring at the picture on the skylight in a daze, with an emotion of disbelief in her eyes. Tokisaki Kurumi bit her lower lip tightly, her eyes flickering. That white-haired girl, it seems to be Zhang, right? Unexpectedly, the figure of an old friend can still be seen in the parallel world. It's so beautiful wonderful. Tokisaki Kurumi could hardly suppress the joy in her heart, and even wanted to rush into the skylight and hug the red-clothed Zhang desperately. But reason told her that she currently had no way to go to the parallel world that was being played on the skylight. It seems that if I want to meet Zhang, I still have to rely on the rewards given by Chiamu to read exciting novels. Go to Falu Novel Network. After learning that Rox had a chance to go to a parallel world, Tokisaki Kurumi was so envious. If she could have this opportunity now, she would definitely not control her suppressed emotions, and would go up and cling to Zhang's soft and tender skin for a passionate hug. Her tongue would definitely stretch out uncontrollably, licking Zhang's clean and white face, and tightly wrapping around every inch of Zhang's skin like an octopus, greedily inhaling the fresh fragrance. Ah, I still need to be patient. Tokisaki Kurumi licked her dry lips, her eyes filled with almost unbearable longing and love. Saying, it's really easy to fascinate people. However, when she saw what was played next on the sky screen, the love in Tokisaki Kurumi's eyes instantly turned into a fire that burned the sky, wanting to destroy the world. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I am 16 years old to be precise. According to my mental age, I should be 21 years old. That's right. I am Uchiha Sasuke from 5 years later. I witnessed with my own eyes how that man became the king, planned the Marie War, and personally overthrew the 5 elders. I was reborn. With the help of my companion's bloodline limits, I was reborn and came to the node in front of me. Looking at the classmates who were teasing Naruto, Sasuke's eyes flashed with love. What an enviable life. Don't think too much about things. Everyone has their own happiness. When Sasuke saw the white-haired girl teasing Naruto, the emotions in his eyes became more complicated. Guilt, love, regret, love, entanglement, and other emotions suddenly surged into Sasuke's heart, making him look quite mature. See you again, Zan. I'm sorry. It was obviously my misunderstanding that caused you to be expelled from the Navy, but at the critical moment, you still put aside the past grudges and sacrificed your life for me. Hey, what are you thinking about with such a gloomy face? Hibiki patted Sasuke's shoulder hard, with a charming smile on her face. Nothing, saying, long time no see. After being slapped suddenly, Sasuke's face turned slightly red, and his eyes dodged, as if he didn't dare to look at those blue pupils as pure as the sky. Yeah, it looks quite suspicious. Hibiki looked at the handsome Sasuke suspiciously. He had a monocle on his left eye, a detective hat on his head, and a candy stick similar to a cigarette in his mouth. Sasuke looks nervous today. Hibiki walked towards Sasuke carelessly, with an interested light in her eyes. When Sasuke saw Hibiki like this, his heart couldn't help but beat fast, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. Saying, are you planning to do him a wall bang here? His heart beat faster and faster, and an expectant expression appeared on his face. But Sasuke couldn't help but close his eyes. Hello, Zhang, what are you doing? The annoying voice of the yellow-haired kid came, and the noisy sound attracted the attention of most people in the class. Hibiki looked at Naruto with a silly smile on his face and Sasuke, who closed his eyes shyly. His eyes rolled around and a good idea suddenly emerged in his mind. Boom! Exclamation. Sasuke was thrown to the ground, feeling the soft skin touch his chest. This is so blissful! Exclamation. Even Sasuke in the second game couldn't stand the strong action of being on top of his lover. His face turned red and he couldn't help but stretch out his arms, but the next second he was like a person with poor direction and didn't know where to put them. But the person sitting on Sasuke's body followed up with an action that interrupted Sasuke's thoughts. Suddenly, there was a soft, wet touch like a cloud on his lips. Sasuke was stunned for a moment. The CPU was burning. His face flushed so much that he didn't even dare to open his eyes to look at the white-haired girl. Sasuke was immersed in enjoying the wonderful touch. The figure sitting on Sasuke's body looked as ugly as if he had eaten 80 kilograms of Wang Lion. When Naruto was forced to the ground by the white-haired girl and had a physical contact with Sasuke, Naruto had only one thought in his mind. Oh wow, she is indeed the disciple of Granny Tsunade. She has really great skills. But in the next second, seeing Sasuke enjoying the same lewd expression on his face, Naruto felt nauseous and almost vomited his breakfast. We are all grown men. 0.9 You make this expression, you can't be attracted to the same right. But before Naruto could react, a strange force came from the back of his head, pushing Naruto to the ground and giving Sasuke his first kiss. Oh wow, Sasuke-kun looks like he's enjoying it. Hibiki clapped her hands, ignoring Naruto, who was almost sick from being disgusted, and instead kept looking at Naruto and Sasuke's faces with great interest. These two people, I am loud a half, I am loud a half, I am loud a half. What about the other co-productions? Sasuke opened his eyes in confusion. Why did it seem that after the kiss, Hibiki's mood was that of someone just watching the fun? But when Sasuke saw Naruto sitting on his body, his face turned green. Sasuke's face was livid. He recalled his expression just now, and the feeling of shame, anger, and disgust suddenly surged in his heart. So, without exception, Sasuke vomited, and vomited all over the floor! Fei Zhang walked away 2 steps calmly, and seeing Sasuke's disgusted expression, a very happy smile appeared on her face. What a funny expression! As the culprit who caused Sasuke and Naruto to kiss, the white-haired girl had no sense of guilt at all. Instead, she chatted with Haruno Sakura with great interest. Sakura, look at these two, aren't they a perfect match? The pink-haired girl forced a smile and shook her head slightly. The villain in my heart can't help but want to gallop and punch violently. What a match! My Sasuke-kun just lost his first kiss like this. Say goodbye to Atomic. Chapter 90. While the kids in the East Sea were still playing Ninja House, a guest arrived in the city of Impel Down. Welcome to my Impel Down. Wearing a yellow-green turban, Hannibal held a trident and smiled as if he had taken the position of the director of Impel Down. The man didn't seem to want to talk. He was wrapped in a black robe, but his long red hair occasionally exposed his identity. Red-haired Shanks is recognized on the sea as the man who has reached the pinnacle of conquerors. Hacky! Hannibal seemed to have no idea who was in front of him, and greeted the man in black robes with a smug look on his face. This morning, he received an order from the 5 elders that the Impel Downtown must receive the distinguished guest in front of him. Akenu Sakaski, is that red hair? What are the trash in Impel Downtown doing? Just letting a sea emperor wander around in Impel Downtown. Tokisaki Kurumi, it seems to be an order from the 5 elders in the parallel world. J. Galusha Satan Saint. Akenu, watch your mouth. We naturally have our considerations. Akenu Sakaski, I think you 5 old men have become running dogs of pirates. Ism Baron V. Nasujiro Saint, how dare you? War 30 countries, keep Sakaski under control, don't let him come out and yell. Buddha's warring states, Sengoku was almost speechless. Being caught between the admirals and the 5 elders, he must be feeling uncomfortable, right? And Red Hair's appearance in a place like Impel Down did not only upset Akenu, but he, the marshal, was also upset. It was outrageous. The 4 emperors actually showed up in Impel Down without paying attention to anyone else. Isn't this too blatant? If Red Hair chose to release the criminals in Impel Down at this moment, it would undoubtedly cause even greater chaos. Isn't this too outrageous? Even Sengoku had some complaints about the 5 elders in the parallel world. Shanks, covered in a black robe, finally arrived at his destination under the guidance of Hannibal. On the first floor of the Push City, the imprisoned Red Nose was lying on the bed and snoring. Hannibal took out the wanted poster and introduced it to red-haired Shanks. Buggy the Clown, born in the East China Sea, once bravely went to Tushin, just to sign a reincarnation contract with his beloved and the bounty of Bayan Wan Bailey. Before Hannibal finished reading, Shanks interrupted him. I understand. You are not needed here. I want to have a conversation with him. Hannibal's expression immediately fell. He did not lose his temper towards the person designated by the 5 elders. He just left the first floor with a bleak back. This is his Impel Down city! I was actually chased out of the city. This is such a failure. With a strange glance at Hannibal, who was in a state of desolation, the red-haired Shanks pulled down his black robe, revealing his cheerful and handsome face. Bucky. It's been a long time before he could finish his words. Buggy the Clown in the prison seemed to be stimulated by something and jumped up directly, shouting angrily. Who is calling me Red Nose? Seeing Buggy's reaction, Shanks twitched the corner of his mouth and revealed a sunny smile. Bucky hasn't changed at all over the years. The redhead smiled slightly, revealing a cheerful smile, and tore down the cage that separated the 2 of them, and walked inside. Hey, Buggy, after all these years, you finally got a job with free food and accommodation? Buggy was stunned for a moment, then he realized that Shanks, that bastard, actually dared to tease him. How abominable! No matter who you are. Buggy grabbed Shanks's tie and yelled angrily. Who is the reason why I have fallen to this point? If it weren't for you, Shanks, who plotted against me, I would have become a landlubber. Before Bucky finished speaking, tears had already flowed down his face. This was definitely a true expression of his feelings! Shanks scratched his hair and looked at Buggy helplessly. No, how can you blame him? Who would have thought that this red-nosed man holding his head in pain in front of Shanks would be one of the 8 emperors who dominates the navy in the New World and gives the 5 elders a headache? That's right. The person in front of him is none other than the two-faced clown, who is recognized as the most vicious and sinister of the 8 sea emperors in the New World! Bucky's chatter suddenly disappeared, and the person who replaced the clear and stupid eyes was a pair of extremely evil peach blossom eyes. What a fool I am. Bucky tilted his head. He was still dressed like a clown, but he looked so intimidating. Shanks looked at Buggy in front of him without any surprise. Instead, he looked accustomed to it. The two-faced clown once stormed into Tushin alone, but was joined by the 2 ice and fire masters of Tushin. The 2 bosses possess a deterrent power that is no less than that of the Emperor of the Sea! But even so, there was no way to deal with Buggy the Clown for a while, and no absolute suppression was caused. In the end, it was the thousand-faced demon who took action, using the power of the giant bitter tree, and used the moon-gazing palm to knock the monster away. Shanks, what's up? Why did you come to Push Forward City to find me? Didn't we agree that I needed to stay in Push Forward City to absorb the power of the monsters during this period of time? Red-haired Shanks' face became serious. He lowered his head slightly and told Buggy the reason for his visit. Bucky, something happened. Uchiha Madara recently found the ancient Uchiha clan documents and is trying to find an Uchiha girl with the same power as him. When talking about that girl, even the Sea Emperor of the New World couldn't help but shudder. To read the exciting novels, go to Feilu Novel Network. Even Shanks is unwilling to fight against Uchiha Madara, who has activated Susanoo. After all, that man beat up all the famous top warriors on the sea. No matter Whitebeard's domineering color entanglement, Kaido's abnormally strong physique, or Big Mom's all-round AoE attack, there is no way to deal with him. He conquered the territories of 5 sea emperors and became the new sea emperor. People call him the evil ghost Shira, and his power can be seen from his name alone. But what Shanks feared was not Uchiha Madara after all. No matter how strong Uchiha Madara is, he has the Marine Admiral to contain him, so he can't cause much trouble. But if the girl with the same power as Uchiha Madara chose to join this magnificent sea at this time, it would be a real disaster. Sorry, everyone, I was planning to change the chapter title, but I just sent the last chapter. Now I should probably release it. I have been struggling these days whether to have 4,000 chapters or 2,000 chapters. Finally, I decided to give it a try with 2,100 chapters. It is said that this will increase exposure. Chapter 91. Well, the classes started today. The teacher with white hair and dead eyes scratched his head in the classroom and wrote down the class division on the blackboard. Well, there are not many lieutenant generals in the branch who are available to lead the team now, so I guess we will assign major generals as captains. Kakashi said this, thinking silently about the assigned Team 7 Uchiha Sasuke. His parents were killed, his whole family was wiped out. There is nothing much to say. He is definitely a problem student. Uzumaki Naruto, the descendant of a hero. Although he is a little naughty, his physical skills and nerve reaction speed have completely inherited the excellent genes of his parents. Hibiki, the little guy who fell from the sky and was picked up by Lady Tsunade and accepted as a formal disciple. His true strength should be at the level of an ordinary major. Haruno Sakura, born in a commoner family, has above-average talent. Although she is a top student in the class, she always needs strength to support herself on the sea. In addition, he is the vice general of Konoha branch, Kakashi, known as the Copy Ninja. In this way, the 5-member team was officially formed. Saying, I didn't expect that we would be assigned to the same group. Hahaha. Naruto smiled like an idiot and said to the white-haired, flat-chested beautiful girl beside him, Uchiha Sasuke's face turned black, and his eyes looking at Naruto were full of murderous intent. Damn it, he made me so embarrassed! Moreover, I lost my first kiss in front of the person I loved! Sasuke had no intention of blaming Hibiki at all, and subconsciously attributed all the faults to Naruto. Yeah, what a coincidence. Hibiki, who was applying lipstick to her pink lips, didn't even raise her head to answer Naruto. Anyway, no matter which class she is assigned to, it doesn't really matter to her. This world without neighbor world and Kurumi is really born. Although the energy system of chakra does have many advantages, it is still too fragile compared to the elves. That's right. Fei is a presence that comes from beyond. In the parallel world, no. 1. Kwang Sen used the 12 bullets to come to the world line. No. 2. Where she was. While Takumi and Mio didn't attack her, she used the power of the 11 bullets to send her to the parallel world. No. 666 Where there was no Lazai Ren. When he traveled to this parallel world, he was fortunately picked up by the master, who personally took him in as his apprentice. Even though she lost the throne of the nameless angel, the strength of Hibiki has not been weakened much. Still a cannon fodder level combat capability that can rival that of a naval captain, of course. That was just Hibiki, who had just come into this world. Now, after receiving the medical ninjutsu and yin seal taught by Tsunade herself, Hibiki's strength has increased rapidly and is enough to defeat most of the navy captains. Uchiha Sasuke was slightly distracted, looking at the white-haired girl who was applying bright red lipstick on her lips, and couldn't help swallowing his saliva. It's still so charming. Hey, Sasuke, you've been staring at me since just now. Why? The white-haired girl slowly applied her lipstick, tilted her head, and looked at Sasuke, who was staring at her with a fiery gaze. Of course it's because you're cute. Sasuke showed a confident smile and said so to the red-clothed Hibiki. Then, the cute JK girl panted, with a sharp murderous intent flashing in her eyes, and she smashed the stone in front of her into pieces with one punch. Pure murderous intent flashed in her scarlet eyes, and the city of time could not help but open up, absorbing everything around. How brave! How dare you confess to Hibiki when she was not around? You bastard who eats! I just want to smash your dog head. The golden clock eyes covered by the bangs couldn't help but burst out with amazing spiritual power, and the small animals around were trembling with fear. Humph, Uchiha Sasuke, huh? I remember, when I get to your world, I will be the first to crush you to ashes. In the chat room, Gal D. Roger, why do I feel that the Navy in our world is the worst? The Navy in the parallel world seems to be so strong. Rox D. Jebek, indeed, whether it is the parallel world with Takumi and Mio or the parallel world in front of us, the Navy is stronger than our world. Smoker, huh, aren't the pirates in the parallel world also very powerful? The king's 18 bronze gongs, and the 12 emperors and so on. How come the pirates in our world are so weak? Kaido of beasts, hey, kid, what's wrong with being weaker? Do you want a BUG-level god like Takumi and Mio to appear? Smoker, no, I don't want to have such a god above my head, who will destroy the world directly when he is in a bad mood. Kizaru Borsellino, cow tilde this doesn't sound like something Kaido can say at all. Kaido of beasts, what? Do you envy my wisdom? Yellow monkey. Black Tina. Tina is shocked that even a vicious pirate like Kaido can calm down and think. Kaido, humph, I'm just reckless, not stupid. Kaido, and dragon, you bastard. Stop using my Wano country as an experimental base. Kaido, my Onigashima is about to be blown into 8 pieces by the main gun of your aerial battleship. Monkey D. Dragon was almost speechless. After pulling out the construction drawings of Fraxinus, he ordered his men to hurry up and finally produced a sample. He originally wanted to test the power on an uninhabited deserted island, but he didn't expect his men to be a bit reckless and directly bombed Wano country. But the power is really strong. Even the top strong men can't withstand more than a dozen shots. But now that the secret weapon of the Revolutionary Army has been exposed, there is no need to hide it. Anyway, we have to take action against the world government sooner or later, so we might as well bombard Marijo twice to test the power. The leader of the GM army, Monkey D. Dragon, has a wandering look in his eyes, thinking about whether to take action against the world government. As for wanted and search, etc. Anyway, if there are too many lice, they won't feel itchy. As the son of a dignified Navy hero, how could he be afraid of a small wanted order? Besides, after the riot in Impel Down, the Navy was very busy. The 5 elders and the Knights of God do have the fighting power to deal with the Revolutionary Army, but will they leave Marijoa? Ha ha, even if Dragon bombed Pangu City, those 5 old men might not necessarily leave the power gap. Teacher Kakashi, what is our mission this time? Uzumaki Naruto is practicing treading water, his body is tied up with ropes, and the other end of the rope is tied to Kakashi, who is leisurely basking in the sun on the deck. Naruto, don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. You'll know what the mission is when you get there. Kakashi was too lazy to pay attention to Naruto at first, but after Naruto asked more than 10 times, he got annoyed and said casually: Uchiha Sasuke had an arrogant smile on his face. He knew everything about this mission as a newcomer. I usually don't perform tasks that are too difficult. Sasuke clearly remembered that the first mission he carried out was to protect the carpenter who built the bridge and fight against the rebel ninja of the Mist Branch, the demon Zabuza. Oh, let me see, that's it. Fei Yixing took out a small piece of paper at some point and read it out softly. To read the exciting novels, go to Feilu Novel Network. Cover the elite of CP9 and successfully escort Nico Robin to Judicial Island. The mission is not over until you have watched Nico Robin's ending. Kakashi couldn't help but stumble, took off his sunglasses, looked at Hibiki, and couldn't help but take a deep breath. No way does Lady Tsunade love her disciple so much. Even the details of the mission were announced in advance at this time. The most shocked person was not someone else, but Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke opened his eyes wide, looking at the note that looked exactly the same as in his previous life. But the content was completely different. His pupils were full of bloodshot. No way, why is it this task? He clearly remembered that the level of this mission in his previous life was only sea level! Besides, if the opponent is the Straw Hat Pirates, it will be bad. Nico Robin, that woman, may be able to defeat Kaido's officers in 3 years. But her current strength is not that strong, and she is not a big threat to him. Although the Straw Hat Pirates became one of the 12 emperors 4 years later, they are still in a state of looking forward to the future. Of course, the problem this time is not Nico Robin or the Straw Hat Pirates. But Monkey D. Luffy is this man. That man's background made many people in the 18 Bronze Gongs intimidated. Even Crocodile, a rebel ninja from the Sand Ninja branch, was defeated by a newcomer because he cared too much about the boys' interpersonal relationships. His grandfather is a Navy hero, his father is the leader of the Revolutionary Army, and his leader is red-haired Shanks. If you really mess with Straw Hat Luffy, you will offend a lot of people. Really, I don't even know how I died. As for the Judicial Island incident in the previous life, Sasuke also heard some inside information. It is said that the Straw Hat Pirates were surrounded by the Demon Slayer Order and had no way to escape. However, it seems that a big shot intervened that time and forcibly used his power to push a broken ship to send the Straw Hat Pirates away. As for the rumors about the ship elf, haha, Sasuke said that such things are better told to children! Anyway, although it is easier to deal with Straw Hat Luffy than with Demon Zabuza, the complicated relationship behind it means that if you make a mistake, you will only end up dead. Sasuke had sweat on his forehead as he pondered how to handle this mission. Chat room. Akenu Sakazuki. Damn, we said we would be reborn for 5 years, but now it seems like this is a pure newcomer, right? Akenu Sakazuki. Although I can understand the caution of regaining life, how can the heroes of the sea easily bother with a hairy boy? Whitebeard, Gilala. There are too many concerns. He doesn't live like a young man at all. Kaido, the king of beasts. Humph, it's obvious that this kid is not the kind of person who can stand at the top. He just has a stronger background. What are you, a reborn person, afraid of? Monkey D. Luffy, ah. Wasn't it the ship spirit at the beginning? Roronoa Zoro, idiot. Of course it was the ship spirit of the Sunny who helped us. It's just that the idiot in the sky didn't witness it with his own eyes, so he arbitrarily thought that someone was helping us. Don Quixote da Flamingo, phew. This is so exciting. Don't you know what the difference is between ninjas and us? Boya Hancock, Ah tilde Lord Luffy, you are still so handsome tilde Marine Headquarters Marineford. Unlike the 5 major naval branches, the Navy headquarters is full of strong men. Vice admirals are everywhere, and colonels are worse than dogs. The current admiral of the Navy is the founder of the Konoha branch, the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. There are 12 admirals below. 5 of them are stationed in the ninja branch and are given the title of Kage. The other 7 generals also have their own tasks, responsible for cooperating with the king's 18 bronze gongs to contain the 8 sea emperors of the New World. One of them is a general who is mainly responsible for training newcomers and replenishing fresh blood for the Navy. A healthy veteran general is fighting a Navy soldier in a watermelon rind. Bang 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 exclamation. The sound of 2 people bumping fists could be heard in the air. Zephyr, who had a purple hedgehog head and wore sunglasses and exuded a strong aura, laughed loudly. Kai, you're still a long way from being perfect. Even if you have mastered a unique skill like the 8 Gates ninjutsu, don't let your guard down easily. As soon as Zephyr finished speaking, he kicked the bandage wrapped around Kai's hand with a powerful kick. Konoha's powerful whirlwind. Might Guy dodged slightly sideways, his eyelids rolled up, and his body was surrounded by steam condensed from sweat. With a determined and unyielding look on his face, he responded with an amazing kick, and said unyieldingly, his voice full of passion and fighting spirit, his eyes gleaming with an unyielding light. Teacher Zephyr, my youth has just begun to burn. Say goodbye to Atomic. Chapter 92. Zephyr couldn't help but brighten up, looking at the young man in the sky. His heart was burning. It's been a long time since I saw such a good seedling with such a solid foundation. I didn't expect that in this so-called parallel world, there are actually good seedlings specializing in physical skills. Just listening to the crisp sound of the punches hitting the flesh, Zephyr could imagine how brilliant Might Guy would be if he had a proper medicinal bath and healthy and continuous exercise. The potential of a physical general level. Tisk tisk, my arm in this parallel world is not broken either. There are so many parallel worlds, I can't be the only one who is so miserable, right? Zeph looked at the parallel Zeph who was training Might Guy with a strange look on his face, and couldn't help but doubt it. Teacher Zephyr, we have arrived at Mermaid Island. With her long, wavy, sea blue hair draped over her shoulders, Ian called out to Zephyr. It's here. Zephyr nodded slightly, but he did not forget the purpose of his coming out this time. In order to transform this dark world, Zephyr decided to unite the member countries in the world and people with lofty ideals to overthrow the current celestial dragons and abolish the celestial gold system. Now, he is ready to talk to King Neptune. Of course, he is not going to overthrow the world government directly. After all, this topic should be discussed from the shallow to the deep. Sasuke-kun, you are still so handsome, knight. C-Train. The pink-haired girl looked at Uchiha Sasuke, who was sitting in the seat shyly, with a crazy look on her face. As early as the evening, Kakashi had completed the handover task with the CP department and assigned personnel. Kakashi personally guarded the first carriage. Naruto and Sakura were in the 5th car, while Sasuke and Hibiki were in the 6th car. As for why Naruto was not there, but Sasuke was sitting in the 5th car to guard this kind of thing, who cares? Sakura doesn't want to play with that yellow-haired guy at all. She only wants to have a baby with Sasuke. Suddenly, Sasuke stood up, glanced at the pink-haired girl with cold disdain, and gently put his index finger on the girl's smooth chin. The tip of Haruno Sakura's ears turned red, and the impulsive blood in her nose could not help but flow. The whole person was emitting white steam like the steam girl. No way could it be possible that Sasuke-kun was going to attack her. Sakura, do you like me? A frivolous and casual voice came out, and Sakura nodded dazedly. Then, Sasuke held Sakura's cute and beautiful face in his hands, with a look of disdain in his eyes, and said to the pink-haired girl in front of him, if you like her, you should take the initiative to kiss her. Sasuke's words instantly captured the silly Haruno Sakura. Haruno Sakura didn't care about anything and didn't notice that this was not something a normal Sasuke would say. The pink-haired girl closed her eyes shyly, and like a chicken pecking at rice, she focused her head forward and approached. Feeling the scent of shampoo approaching, Sasuke showed a wicked smile on his face and kissed her without hesitation. Greedily sucking the sweetness from the girl, Sasuke held Sakura's white shoulders and bit her desperately. Sasuke, who was dressed as a yellow-haired kid, looked very happy, feeling the fragrance of the girl in front of him. It's just one word. Awesome! Exclamation, as expected of Sakura. Hee hee. The kiss feels so good! Exclamation. Hey, what are you doing? The voice of the white-haired girl came from the door of the carriage. Hibiki looked at the scene in front of her strangely, and turned to look at Sasuke behind her. Weird. Why are there two Sasukes? No, it's a transformation technique! Exclamation. After a moment of confusion, Hibiki realized this. The abundant chakra flows in the meridians, and the blue chakra is pulsating on the snow-white and smooth forearms. Chilling. Go to hell. Boom! Exclamation. The roar of Hibiki echoed in the air, shocking everyone. He threw a punch without hesitation, and his strange power overflowed. As the punch was thrown, 4 waves appeared in the air. The wind was so strong that even the iron wall of the carriage could not withstand it and was completely pierced. A huge hole suddenly appeared on the 5th carriage, as if it had been torn apart by a wild beast. Uchiha Sasuke stood aside, watching all this happen, sweating profusely. The power of Hibiki's punch was so great that it was really amazing. At this time, Sasuke also remembered what happened. The incident where Naruto pretended to be him and tricked Sakura into having her first kiss. Sasuke clasped his hands together and looked at the yellow hair in the sea, hoping that the person was okay. What's wrong? What happened? The intellectual and elegant Khalifa wore a black suspender skirt, looking sexy and charming, with a white mask on her face. Looking at the broken carriage, she couldn't help but ask Colin, "It's okay. A wolf tried to take advantage of our teammate, but was knocked into the sea by Zhang." Holding his forehead, Sasuke helplessly explained to Khalifa, "What is this?" "Oh, that's it." Khalifa, who seemed a bit naive, nodded and pushed her intellectual glasses with the heel of her palm, but didn't ask too many questions. The ninja branch is different from the regular navy. The people in it are all strong people who can use chakra. It is best not to provoke them easily. Especially the students inside. Each one has been carefully selected and confirmed to be able to grow into at least a naval captain. Anyway, Khalifa doesn't want to offend. Sasuke's eyes twitched as he looked at Miss Khalifa in front of him. He always felt that this special attack lady with white thighs and fishnet stockings was a bit innocent. Who in their right mind would wear glasses while applying a facial mask? Hibiki looked at Haruno Sakura, who stood there motionless as if petrified after being taken advantage of, and patted her shoulder sympathetically. "It's okay, Sakura. You were just deceived. Don't feel too guilty. We won't exclude you just because you can't even see the transformation technique," the white-haired girl said seriously, not noticing Haruno Sakura's almost cracked expression. At this moment, Yingyi was about to burst into tears. "No, that was my first kiss!" Exclamation. As a result, he was taken advantage of, right under Sasuke's nose! Exclamation. "Damn it!" Exclamation. "Don't let me know who that bastard is!" Exclamation. Sakura was so frantic that she almost lost control, and her determination to beat that guy to death was growing stronger. At the same time, the masked man on the carriage had his back almost wet with sweat, and he swallowed his saliva suddenly. To read the exciting novels, go to Falu Novel Network. Isn't it so scary? Just throw the person into the sea to feed the sharks! Exclamation. Who? The white-haired girl moved her ears slightly and heard a strange sound coming from the carriage. She shouted on the spot. The Sniper King was almost stunned. Feeling the terrifying killing intent coming from under his feet, he couldn't help but run away. How scary! Exclamation. "Mom, help me!" Exclamation. Boom! Exclamation. Hibiki made a prompt decision and kicked the floor of the carriage, destroying it completely. A gray-yellow smoke rose up around it. The white-haired girl used a modified version of her strange strength to shave and rushed towards the carriage. Yalong Khalifa swallowed her saliva, and her hair was wet with cold sweat. No, aren't all the newcomers nowadays so strong? Sasuke was confused by the sudden smoke and coughed twice subconsciously before he reacted. Sakura, I'm going to help Hibiki hunt that guy down. I leave the task of rescuing Naruto to you. After that, Sasuke quickly formed a seal, consuming the little chakra in his body, and used the instant body technique. Brush! Sasuke's figure suddenly disappeared from the spot, and the sound of running came from the carriage. Sakura, who was completely confused, finally reacted after hearing what Sasuke said. It turns out that the person who pretended to be Sasuke and kissed her wantonly was actually Naruto. Naruto! A murderous voice slowly came out of Xiaoying's mouth, and her eyes looking at the sea were full of ferocity. Thunder escapes from the ground, slowly forming a seal. Haruno Sakura decisively chose to give Naruto, who had just cheated and kissed her, a wave of electric therapy. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle! There was a constant sizzling sound coming from the surface of the sea. The yellow-haired boy felt the stimulation of the current in the deep sea and couldn't help twitching and shaking. He rolled his eyes and almost fainted. Hi Cantina, the little girl is still too hypocritical. Since we have decided to walk on the cruel sea, this mentality is not acceptable. Yellow Monkey Borsellino, wow what a terrible lightning ability. Smoker, is this transformation technique the effect of life return? Black Arm Zephyr, how is it possible? Although life return can change a person's appearance, who among the heroes on the sea would do this? Unless it is the special attack of the CP department. Gal D. Roger, is this the existence called ninja who controls chakra? It looks completely different from the system circulating on the sea. Enelu, how is it possible? Any passerby can use the power of lightning. This is not the river at all. When Enelu saw the man in the previous parallel world, who was driving the Imperial weapon Thunder God's Wrath Admiral, he didn't feel anything when he was driving the thunder. After all, he was awesome. A thunder descended, directly covering his whole body in all directions, and he could also drive a thunder warhorse. His physical skills and two-color domineering were both top-notch. Although Enelu felt uncomfortable with that man, he was convinced. After all, he could see the gap between the two sides. But what is the basis for this pink-haired girl? Is it because she is stupid? Is it because she is a nymphomaniac? Haha, Enelu couldn't help but sneer. Letting such a person control the power of thunder is simply an insult to the thunder fruit. However, no matter how angry Enelu was, he could not touch the parallel world in the sky. Why bother? We all make a living on the sea. Why make things difficult for others? The Sniper King wearing the strange mask suddenly stopped when he ran to the end of the carriage, turned around slowly, and looked at the two people in front of him. One person is wearing a blue short-sleeved shirt with a red round fan behind him. The other one is a girl with white hair and a dazed look, who looks scary as if she wants to kill someone. Humph. You are a hostage, right? Fei Yixing crossed her arms and looked at the guy who was hiding his head and showing his tail in front of her with an unhappy face. This person reminded her of a guy who always acted under a mask called the Messenger of Justice. When the disgusting figure of the bastard appeared in his mind, a chill flashed across Fei Yixing's eyes. He subconsciously clenched his fists, and his knuckles made a popping sound. Usopp, who looked very old and could not escape, slowly raised his slingshot. Why bother? We are all people who have chosen to go to sea. Why should we make things difficult for each other? I really don't want to fight with you. The Sniper King sighed, looking like a big man who doesn't care about the little man's mistakes. In fact, I'm almost breaking out in a cold sweat! To die. One is a super strong woman, the other is a member of the Uchiha clan Reikiri. A blue lightning streaked across the night sky, like the breath of a giant dragon, instantly illuminating the dark half of the sky. The lightning flashed at an extremely fast speed, like a falling meteor, and suddenly attacked from the first carriage at a speed faster than the speed of a thunderbolt. The blue lightning, with destructive power, aimed at the Sniper King. The sharp lightning seemed to split everything in its path, causing Usopp to close his eyes subconsciously. But after waiting for 10 seconds, there was still no pain. Usopp half closed his eyes and looked at the scene in front of him. I saw a young man in a red jacket standing in the way of Reikiri's attack. Showing his gleaming white teeth. Straw Hat Luffy gave the Sniper King a thumbs up. What a cool mask. Can you be my partner? Kakashi's single eye was full of surprise. Is Reikiri useless? He actually managed to block Reikiri with just his body. Who is this boy? Chapter 93. Buddha's warring states, the attack power of this lightning is so great that most vice admirals cannot have this instantaneous explosive power. But it was blocked so easily. Garp, your grandson is quite capable. Monkey D. Garp, haha, of course. Look whose grandson it is. Buddha's warring states, I'm not praising you. Asshole. Enelu, rubber can't conduct electricity. Straw Hat Boy is a rubber man who ate the rubber fruit. Lightning has no effect on him. Seeing that someone in the chat room was as shocked as he was at the beginning, Enelu also rarely explained. Shiki the Golden Lion, what the hell? Rubber can't conduct electricity. Whitebeard, Gilala, the rubber fruit. It really restrains the thunder fruit. Monkey D. Luffy, hey, it's the Sniper King. Long time no see. Roar no Zoro, stupid captain, I still haven't recognized you. Black Arm Zephyr, it's a very strange system. The abilities of these ninjas are really varied. They have all kinds of abilities. Even Im in the flower room was shocked when he saw 666. I am loud a half, I am loud a half, I am loud a half. When I saw the ninjas in the parallel world, I also became interested. Ninjas have been a legend in the sea since ancient times. But those ninjas only used assassination to deal with shameful things. They were not like the ninjas shown by the Sky Curtain. Not only did they have various methods, but even a little girl could use lightning, and their explosive power was strong enough. It seems that the lightning escape doesn't seem to be working. Kakashi nodded. He didn't think that the young man in front of him was as strong as Kaido, the king of beasts, who could take his attack with his strong defense. After all, the results of the feedback from the observation haki are here. Do you really think that the elite lieutenant generals of the 5 major ninja branches are just there to eat and do nothing? It is easy to be promoted to vice admiral in the Navy headquarters, but it is very difficult for a vice admiral in the Nimai branch to be promoted. Not only do you need enough merits, you also need to master at least 3 A-level ninjutsu and master both colors of domineering to pass the examination of the shadow. Kakashi's lightning release doesn't work. Uchiha Sasuke showed a thoughtful look, and looked at Straw Hat Luffy with suspicion. Although the rubber fruit is not conductive, the speed and force generated by the Reikiri are not weak. Logically speaking, that Reikiri should have been able to send the Straw Hat Boy flying. Uchiha Sasuke remembered a piece of news that came out 3 years later after the Battle of Egghead Island. According to the 4th Hokage Tsunade, the Straw Hat Boy seems to be the owner of the Nika form of the human fruit. Joy Boy, who has been feared by the world government for 800 years, seems to be the Straw Hat Kid. As Sasuke's inner voice turned into subtitles and appeared on the sky, some people on the sea could not sit still. Kaido of Beasts, are you kidding? Could this idiot be Joy Boy? Charlotte Linlin, HMMMM, is it the legendary mythical beast? There is another one, which makes people curious. How big will the Straw Hat Kid grow in 3 years? Gal D. Roger, Nika fruit. No wonder I feel a sense of familiarity when I see Luffy, ha 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 ha. Pluto really, the sense of familiarity is because of the Straw Hat, right? Shepherd 10 Pit Saint, it's the Nika fruit. The world government has been searching for the devil fruit for 800 years between power. The bald man with glasses wearing women's clothes and showing his belly button seemed to have gotten used to it. The white sharp edge flashed across the round mirror. Before, we could still consider Garp's sake and not do anything to Straw Hat Luffy. Saint Satan took over the conversation and continued, but now, since this magical sky has exposed the Nika fruit, we naturally cannot sit still and wait for death. The golden-haired 5 elders frowned slightly and asked the core question, but who should be sent? We can't just recruit people from the Navy. After all, we still have to consider Garp's reputation. The long-bearded 5 elders said directly with a wise look, "Send the 7 warlords of the sea. Doflamingo knows too much, so we can't send him. There's no need to say more about what the bear is like now." The 5 elders with red skin birthmark thought for a while and immediately made the decision. Good. Then send Queen Boa Hancock. Agree. ×4. In this way, the 5 elders immediately decided to send the 7 warlords to capture Straw Hat Luffy. Luffy. Robin's eyes followed the hole in the carriage and saw a boy wearing a straw hat and a mysterious masked man confronting the elite of the Navy's ninja branch. Why are you coming? This is going against the world government! Straw Hat Boy Luffy seems to be the rookie king born in the East China Sea in the past few months. The white-haired girl tilted her head and took out a slender western sword from somewhere. She held a very delicate black and white flintlock in her hand. To be honest, she hates pirates. I've always hated it since before. After all, it was this group of hateful pirates who destroyed the balance of the sea and displaced countless civilians. Her parents also died at the hands of pirates. That is why when she learned that she had a chance to take revenge on the pirates, she agreed without hesitation. Pirates, be prepared to die. A happy smile flashed across the white-haired girl's face. She pulled the trigger and the bullet wrapped in the armed color domineering shot towards Straw Hat Luffy at an astonishing speed. That is when Usopp, who was protected by Luffy, saw the black bullet. He immediately thought of his father. It appeared behind a half I am loud, a half I am loud, a half. Usopp looked at the beautiful girl with white hair and shock. Are you kidding? You have mastered the entanglement of armament haki at such a young age. What Usopp didn't know was the white-haired girl in front of him is the only elf in this world! Blessed by the gods, these beautiful elf girls each possess physical strength and talent far beyond that of ordinary people! Immortal longevity, amazing endurance, amazing talent. In just less than 5 months, he was able to cultivate the armament haki and observation haki. It took more than half a year to master the A-level ninjutsu Rasengan. In addition, after only 1 year, even the ambitious outliner said that he had been squeezed dry and there was really not a drop left. Perhaps it was due to the advanced prediction of the observation haki that Straw Hat Luffy narrowly avoided the bullet wrapped with armament haki. Fei Yixing glanced at the 2 people standing on the top of the carriage and sensed the atmosphere of fighting coming from the other carriages with his observation haki. The white-haired girl nodded slightly, indicating that she understood. Since lightning escape doesn't work, let's try water escape. Water style, water dragon bullet technique. Unlike a certain version that only uses 44 seals, Hibiki only used 4 seals and successfully drew out a pale blue water dragon from the sea. The water dragon opened its red eyes. Its entire body was filled with flowing water. It roared toward the sky, then opened its huge blue mouth and bit Straw Hat Luffy. Something bad is happening. It's sea water. Usopp, wearing a mask, looked at the blue water dragon in panic as it was about to touch Luffy. He couldn't help but take out his slingshot and shoot at the water dragon above. But what can we do without the bullets of armed color domineering? The bullets were all swallowed by the water dragon's big mouth, and the red eyes were getting closer and closer. Rubber machine gun. Luffy took a deep breath and recklessly waved his fist at the water dragon in the air. Countless fist shadows flashed in the air. However, the moment his fist touched the water dragon, Luffy's fist softened immediately, and the fatigue of being 007 for hundreds of years without rest instantly surged into his heart. Luffy only felt that his body had become strange. This is a water dragon bomb that uses ninjutsu to gather nearby seawater together. As a devil fruit user, how dare you take it head on? Doesn't he have any common sense? Kakashi scratched his head in confusion, looking at Straw Hat Luffy lying on the ground like a weak shrimp, and he didn't understand at all. It turns out that water dragon bombs can actually hit people. No, it doesn't seem to be able to hit people. There is something wrong with how I have been learning. Damn, why did that bastard Zabuza have to make 44 seals! It's caused me to copy 1 version behind. Kakashi cursed inwardly, and had a murderous intention towards a certain hidden traitor. 0 Please send flowers. The teacher's ninjutsu is not as good as the students'. Isn't this too embarrassing? Kakashi was embarrassed, and didn't notice the white-haired girl holding a rapier, ready to take off the Straw Hat Boy's head. When the sound of metal clashing was heard, stopping the next move of Hibiki. CP9. Why are you trying to stop me? Hibiki sheathed her sword and had no intention of attacking her colleagues. If I do that, Tsunade will have her pocket money deducted next month, right? Rob Lucci spat out a mouthful of blood calmly. There was a gap on his shoulder where he had just used the iron block, and red blood was flowing out. We made a promise with Nico Robin to use her life in exchange for the safety of the Straw Hat Pirates to read exciting novels. Go to Felu Novel Network. Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by the white-haired girl. That is your agreement. What does it have to do with our navy? Hibiki's face was full of confusion, which made Rob Lucci's mouth twitch. No, big sister. Although we are two departments, it is obvious that this mission is led by us. CP9, right? Aren't you ninja marines here just to gain experience? Why do you still have this question? Rob Lucci didn't know how to explain it, and looked at Kakashi. Kakashi, who had a head of white hair, was about to take out his intimate paradise, but he noticed CP9 gaze and withdrew his hand from his waist pocket in shame. Stop it. It's loud. He is the grandson of Admiral Quan Gu of the Navy headquarters. There is no need to kill him. There was a golden light in the white-haired girl's eyes, and she nodded in understanding. What? He's the grandson of Garp. That's probably just an idiot. Not a bad guy. Should we send him to Impel Down to play for 2 days? Hibiki showed a devilish smile and suggested to Kakashi. Kakashi wiped the sweat from his cheeks and coughed twice, but he didn't have much opinion. After all, he had also studied the two-color haki under the tutelage of Zephyr at the Marine headquarters, and like Hibiki, he had been beaten by Garp's iron fist of love. Ring, or just forget it. Sasuke coughed suddenly and suggested Impel Down plus Hat Luffy plus Life Army Cotters, the biggest riot in history. This formula is almost engraved in Sasuke's mind. Who says that wherever the Straw Hat Boy appears, there will always be chaos. I went to Judicial Island. Alas, Judicial Island was bombarded by the Navy's demon-killing order. It was simply a plowing and sinking island. I went to the territory of Wangxia Shibatongluo, but one after another fell. Crocodile, Gecko Moria, Doflamingo, they are all the pillars of the king's 18 bronze gongs, but in the end they all became stepping stones for Straw Hat Luffy's promotion anyway. Sasuke wanted to fight for it and didn't want Straw Hat Luffy to enter Impel Down. Hey, this isn't something Sasuke would say at all. The white-haired girl suddenly used her razor to teleport to Sasuke's side. Her eyes were full of suspicion, and her face showed an expression that showed whether Sasuke's brain was burnt out. After all, who doesn't know that Uchiha Sasuke has only one goal since he was a child? Revenge. Hibiki didn't even doubt that for revenge, Sasuke could become a rebellious ninja who could only eat one meal a day. Suspicious eyes moved back and forth between Uchiha Sasuke and Straw Hat Luffy. Shouldn't Fei Yixing seem to have thought of something, and his pondering expression was intriguing. Sasuke's forehead was covered with nervous sweat. Could it be that Zhang discovered something? Should I tell her the truth? However, thinking of how Hibiki in his previous life was almost killed by him, Sasuke hesitated for the first time. Could it be that you and this little brat are having some affair? Fei Yixing seemed to have discovered something and smiled like an auntie. If you think about it carefully, the Straw Hat Boy's ability to stretch is similar to that of rubber. Well, it is indeed very suitable for a big battle. Sasuke is a man on the road of revenge, so it's understandable that he needs a little excitement occasionally. Although this stimulation may be a bit too much. Second, say goodbye to Atomic. Chapter 94. The time came to early morning due to Lucci's obstruction. Kakashi and his team let the Straw Hat Pirates escape. Our mission ends at the island. You can have fun on Judicial Island for a day. All expenses will be reimbursed by Tsunade-sama. Kakashi clapped his hands and said to his lovely student Uzumaki Naruto, who was twitching from time to time as if he had Parkinson's disease, was half standing with a cane and bandages wrapped around his waist. This was caused by the electric shock from Haruno Sakura's lightning escape yesterday! Great, now we can play. Hibiki showed a cheerful smile. Her silver hair was shining, and her snow-white slender arms almost made Uchiha Sasuke close his eyes. Kurumi took a deep breath, and in her scarlet eyes there was a resentment of wanting to kill someone, and she muttered, don't be angry when the random question appears. go to the parallel world and give him a knife in the heart. No, one strike is not enough. One strike for each clone. Gnashing her teeth and spitting out fragrance from her lips, Quang-san looked at Sasuke in the sky fiercely. He actually dared to have wild thoughts about saying it was like lighting a lantern in the toilet, looking for death. Sun, beach, muscle. Sakura's drool is about to flow down. It looks like her head is full of yellow garbage. Glancing at Sakura, who was infatuated with him, and Naruto, who was so badly injured that his voice was trembling, Sasuke sighed. What should I do to get rid of these two light bulbs? East China Sea. Tushinea folded ear fox is sitting leisurely on a pink giant tree, shaking its two tender white little feet. The third leader of Tushin, wearing a green floral dress, squinted her eyes, wondering what she was thinking. Sister, is it you? A stream of cold air spread like smoke, freezing the entire scene around the giant tree of suffering at a speed visible to the naked eye. The peeping eyes sensed the cold air and disappeared one after another. Come here, the second in command of Tushin, the icy beauty Tushin. Yeah! Wrong. You did a good job on that matter before. Wearing a dark blue short-sleeved outfit, a pair of fox ears looks quite cute and attractive, adding a touch of cuteness to the originally unkind and cold plum temperament in the snow. It is the folded ear fox, the symbol of the Tushin royal family. He did not speak, but communicated with others only through Tushin's 1,000 miles sound transmission technique. This is Tushin, which is known as the first of the 7 spiritual holy places. However, although it is called the Holy Land of Spiritual Communication, Tushin has never signed a spiritual communication contract with any ninja. Thank you for the compliment. Sister Tushin. Rongrong nodded slightly, but she was not too proud. Using the power of the giant tree of suffering to predict the future, you are the only one who has been able to do this for thousands of years. Tushin Yale looked up at the cherry blossom petals scattered all over the sky, her red eyes open, freezing most of the petals. Now, she seems to be the most confused among the 3 Tushin sisters, right? The elder sister tried to promote harmonious coexistence between humans and demons, and the younger sister seemed to have some plan. She actually used the mysterious love network and the deductive ability of the bitter love tree to calculate a wave of future. She is alone, and she doesn't know what to do all day except drinking. Tushin Yale laughed at herself and happily poured the endless wine gourd into her mouth, letting the wine smell invade her brain. There was a hint of confusion in the red eyes, but it was soon covered by drunkenness. Get drunk. Only when you are drunk can you forget all your troubles. Tushin Rongrong gently watched Ye, who had made herself drunk, and the breeze gently lifted her skirt. Uchiha Sasuke, the future deduced with you as the core is indeed very useful. However, the reward has been paid, Tushin, and you owe nothing. I hope you can understand something otherwise. A bright green light appeared on Tushin Rongrong's body, and the demon king level aura that was enough to rival the domineering color almost soared into the sky. Rocks D. Jibuk, oh my god, these 2 guys are both very strong, and they seem to be a special race. Akenu Sakaski, the reborn is just a lie? How dare you plot against our navy? Akiji Kyuzan, ah la tilde, it's really a terrible plot, and it seems very unreasonable. Whitebeard, Gilala, this aura is comparable to Rock's domineering color, right? Buddha's warring states, Tushin lineage, I will remember it. Flamingo looked at the 2 women appearing in the sky and couldn't help laughing. How interesting. This is a completely different power from the sea's domineering power and ability system. Phew, let me see how much this world can change. This juice always feels a bit weird. The cute girl with white hair and dazed hair sipped the Chinese herbal soup while watching Sakura beating up Naruto. What a good show! Oops. It seems that Sakura kicked something wrong. Why do I hear the sound of chickens and eggs breaking? Oh, that's really weird. Hey, Naruto started to fight back, using the dragon grab, but unfortunately the counterattack was ineffective, and was easily pinned to the ground by the super strong girl Sakura. But in the end, Naruto still inserted his toes into Sakura's nostrils. Oh my god, Sakura is bleeding from the nose. Hibiki was drinking a drink, her pupils shining, watching the 2 people wrestling on the ground. Ah, Naruto, I'm going to kill you. Sakura's small nose smelled the smell of feet that hadn't been washed for hundreds of years. Sakura's body was filled with black air, and she fiercely kicked Naruto in the abdomen with her sweaty feet. Sakura wiped her nose, which was mixed with blood and dirt, and sat on Naruto's back without any ladylike image. At this time, Naruto was holding his lower abdomen with a painful expression on his face, rolling his eyes and looking powerless to resist. Oh, how pitiful. Fei Xiang frowned slightly. She really couldn't get used to this bitter, astringent, and unpalatable taste. The white-haired girl decisively chose to feed the Chinese herbal medicine to the seriously injured Naruto and poured it on the face that was beaten into a pig's head. Feeling the coolness in my mouth and the blurry yellow liquid in my vision, Naruto, who was originally upset because of the loss of everything, almost jumped up. Oh my god, did Sakura pee on my face? Violent woman, actually urinated in such a public place. What a However, Naruto couldn't help but open his eyes wide, wanting to see the mysterious forest and satisfy his curiosity. But when he opened his eyes, he saw a shoe pointed at his handsome face. I'm throwing it. Don't step on it. To read the exciting novels, go to Feilu Novel Network. Naruto's eyeballs were about to pop out. The yellow-haired boy who was beaten into a sausage mouth was about to beg for mercy. But the next second a high-heeled shoe stepped directly on his eye socket. It hurts! Naruto only felt a piercing pain coming from his eye sockets. The heels of the high heels seemed to crush his face completely, almost piercing his forehead. Princess Sasuke, wearing a light yellow kimono and with Yamato Nachiko's hair tied up, was stepping on Naruto with an angry look on her face, and kept saying, "Don't look. Don't look." A hint of thoughtfulness flashed across the light blue eyes of Hibiki. She had noticed before, and although she didn't know why, Sasuke seemed to listen to her. In order to test how obedient Sasuke is, Hibiki specifically told Sasuke that she wanted to see him wearing a women's kimono. I didn't expect Sasuke to actually change into it. Her black medium-length hair was slightly draped over her shoulders, and her neutral and distinct face looked quite shy at this moment. Coupled with the fact that she was stomping her feet like a little girl in anger, no one would believe that she was not a woman. Sure enough, Sasuke in women's clothing is the good Sasuke. Fei Yixing looked at her work with satisfaction, but when she saw the inconspicuous Adam's apple, she thought to herself, should we use the fruit ability of the Demon King Ivankov to completely transform Sasuke into Sasuke? I always feel that long straight black hair is also very attractive. However, a disturbing alarm interrupted Hibiki's thoughts. The white-haired boy frowned slightly, and the hair on his head trembled, as if he had received some signal. This is a lot of powerful life breath. Muttering to herself, Hibiki's emerald blue eyes glanced at the scene outside Judicial Island. I always feel that a storm is coming. The CP9 agents on the island seem to be in a lot of trouble. Do you want to go to support? Sasuke asked suddenly, asking for the white-haired girl's opinion. Didn't Kakashi-sensei say that? Deep in the eyes of Fei Yixing were a cold light that was almost emotionless. She spoke word by word. We are only responsible for the guarding of the sea train. What happens after the escort to the Judicial Island has nothing to do with our navy. If I go to help now, I might be scolded by the CP department for meddling in other people's business. Sasuke nodded, understanding what Hibiki meant. Indeed, no matter how big the incident on Judicial Island is, it has nothing to do with the Konoha Marine Branch. Anyway, it's true that Robin was taken to Judicial Island. Sakura didn't feel anything at all. She just stepped on Naruto, and nothing happened. What a weak guy. Sasuke had this thought in his mind. Sakura is still too immature now. Sakura, 5 years later, has grown a lot in terms of her vision. Let's go. The next Judicial Island is not suitable for tourism. The white-haired girl with an average figure but unexpectedly cute smiled and decided to retreat. Good Sasuke naturally followed the white-haired girl's instructions, completely ignoring the two idiots fighting behind them. Sakura, Naruto, follow me. Fei Yixing shouted without turning back, preparing to borrow a warship from Judicial Island to leave here. As for Kakashi-sensei, who cares? He is an elite lieutenant general anyway, and there is no one on this island who can match him. Instead of worrying about Kakashi, I might as well worry about my own arms and legs and whether they can survive the next battle. Pink-haired Sakura glared at Naruto fiercely, got off Naruto, and ran towards Sasuke. Damn that yellow-haired guy, he made me embarrassed in front of Sasuke again! Naruto, who was beaten to death, shed tears of pain. Damn Sakura, I will strip you one day! Boom! The sky was clear just now, but suddenly there was thunder and strong winds. The heavy rain, driven by gravity, poured down on Naruto's face, soaking his khaki coat. The yellow Chinese herbs mixed with rain water poured into Naruto's mouth. Pooh. With a bitter face, Naruto said weakly to the tenant in his body: Hey, big fox, it's time to pay the rent. The orange fox looked at the now embarrassed Naruto, and the corners of his mouth were harder to suppress than Hee. Did you see it, Namikaze Minato? This is your descendant, who can only be bullied by a bunch of mere gravel and has no thought of resisting. You deserved it. You sealed me and split me into two. However, despite this, the Ninetales still lent some of its chakra to repair Uzumaki Naruto's broken body. Now I finally feel better. Uzumaki Naruto stretched lazily, and at the moment of using the Ninetales chakra, even his azure eyes turned into red vertical pupils, and his eyes quickly swept around like a beast. I see. Have the previously famous Straw Hat Pirates come to the Judicial Island? No wonder Zhang decided to evacuate. He nodded in understanding, and the yellow-haired boy showed a malicious smile. It's a mission after all. If there's not even a chance to take action, isn't that too lame? Say goodbye to Atomic. Chapter 95. Hey, you are a descendant of Minato. Why don't you have his spirit at all? It seems that he has been locked in the cage for too long. The Ninetales asked Naruto boldly: Daddy's spirit? Forget it. Minato is a great hero who sacrifices himself for others. I am nothing but a little Karami. I can't sacrifice myself for others. Naruto responded calmly. He just wanted to have some fun. Sakura's mouth felt good to kiss before, especially her white and smooth shoulders. Wow, they felt so smooth. Hey, little devil, I hope you can find what you want in this ocean. Kyubai's voice stopped abruptly, and he didn't say anything more. This direction, is it Rob Lucci from CP9? Naruto looked at the map of Judicial Island and couldn't help but sigh. It's a pity that although his physical fitness has reached the 0-1 standard, he has always focused on the training of ninjutsu, and has only dabbled in taijutsu and domineering. For him, armament haki is fine, and he can use it sometimes when he is in a hurry, but he still hasn't mastered the smell haki. A vortex distorted space and appeared on the roof of Judicial Island. The man wearing the white turbo mask laughed strangely, and looked at Uzumaki Naruto with murderous eyes. However, this was not directed at Uzumaki Naruto, but at a beast that had no sense of propriety! The giant fox inside Naruto sneezed and glanced suspiciously around the dark sewer. Why do I feel a chill? The masked man did not stay for too long. He just appeared outside and took a look at Naruto before disappearing from the spot. He still has a lot to do for the Moon Eye Project. Kaido, HMPH, a guy who hides his head and shows his tail. He doesn't look very strong at first glance. Zephyr, this body size, I feel a little familiar with it. Smoker, that masked man, could it be someone we know? Why do I always feel a weird sense of familiarity? Monkey D. Garp, hahaha, the water in the parallel world is really deep. That masked man looks hard to beat. Tokisaki Kurumi, interesting. Can you use the power of space? I wonder which one is stronger compared to my ability. Don Quixote da Flamingo, Fufufu, Tokisaki Kurumi, how about cooperating with me once? Tokisaki Kurumi, forget it. I'm not alone, so I won't cooperate with people like you. Kyoyusen looked disgusted. She knew the temperament of this flamingo very well. Anyway, Kwangson didn't want to cooperate with this flamingo at all. Besides, she had a lot of people on her side. Bandage Kwangson with Conqueror's Haki, Sweet Loli Kwangson with Imperial Tool Romantic Turret, Dark Kimono Kwangson with Imperial Tool One-Hit Kill Murasame. These three alone enough to compete with the top masters. If she added a time acceleration buff or something, haha, what would those top masters use to fight her? Naruto soon arrived at the judicial island and saw Luffy and Rob Lucci panting. Wow, the battle is so brutal. Uzumaki Naruto watched from the sidelines, ready to be the sixth in command. If Lucci lost, he would go up and take advantage of the situation. The rebirth of the Konoha ninja branch of the Navy. Rob Lucci's eyes lit up, and he couldn't help but cast his gaze towards Naruto. The quality of new students in the Konohagakure branch is first-rate! More than a decade ago, a freshman with golden hair was able to fight against a veteran vice admiral of the Navy with his powerful ninjutsu. Naruto whistled, looking nonchalant, as if he didn't notice Lucci's gaze at all. Hey, ninja over there, help me complete the CP department's mission and capture Straw Hat Luffy. Seeing that Naruto didn't move, Rob Lucci shouted anxiously. Naruto seemed to have not heard it, and didn't even bother to look at Rob Lucci. Rubber machine gun. Countless fists rained down on Lucci in leopard form, each of them carrying a strong impact and astonishing speed, as if to completely submerge him in this fierce attack. Lucci quickly dodged with his paper painting, and his defense was so airtight that he managed to avoid Luffy's surging attack. To read the exciting novels, go to Falu Novel Network. Wow, not bad. He can actually fight back and forth with the strongest genius in the CP department in 800 years. Naruto grabbed a handful of melon seeds from his pocket and ate them with relish while watching the show. Damn it. Lucci cursed inwardly, and the look he gave Naruto instantly changed. Are all the newbies in the Nimai branch so lazy now? In the past, he could clearly rely on the reputation of the CP department to scare many rookie ninjas! Not bad, not bad. Is this the ability of a devil fruit? It's amazing that he could develop the superhuman rubber fruit to this extent. Naruto clapped his hands in approval, but he didn't underestimate Luffy's idea. On the other hand, Rob Lucci felt like his lungs were about to explode. What on earth is going on with this 660? It would be fine if you didn't help him, but you're still getting in the way! Snapped! The leopard tail behind Luffy finally got the chance, and wrapped Luffy like a rope into a big dumpling. Luffy desperately pulled the patterned leopard's tail with both hands, but it was useless and he was almost strangled to death. Just when Luffy felt that he was about to meet his grandmother, Naruto, who had been watching this good show, finally couldn't help himself. Naruto clapped his hands gently, finally willing to take action, and said slowly, logically speaking, I should help those who are also part of the world government. But you are lucky. I think highly of you, so I will reluctantly help you this time. The surging red chakra quickly covered Naruto-tailed beast coat, officially launched Uzumaki Naruto. You are a rookie in the Navy. I advise you not to make mistakes. Lucci took a step back nervously and couldn't help but warn Naruto. Hey, don't be nervous, Lucci. My hands are just itching, and I suddenly want to try to see if I can tear the wild leopard apart alive like I did when I was a kid. Naruto showed his 18 distinct white teeth, and his joints creaked. Say goodbye to Atomic. Chapter 96. Hey, aren't you afraid of the punishment from the admiral? Lucci's pupils shrank into needles. He couldn't believe that this was something a new member of the ninja branch could do. It would be fine if they didn't help him fight crime, but now they are thinking of killing him as well as all the agents of this world government. This is simply insane! This is the first actual combat. So let's try this trick first. The scarlet-tailed beast coat slowly gathered towards Naruto's hands. Rob Lucci finally noticed the chakra covering Naruto's body. The moment he discovered it, Lucci's eyes almost popped out of his head. This is the tailed beast coat, right? This is definitely the tailed beast coat, right? What kind of monsters did the Konoha branch release? Even the tailed beast, a dangerous disaster beast that determines the direction of the ocean, has been released. That's right, in Lucci's opinion, the power of the tailed beasts can completely determine the direction of the sea. No one knows the power of the tailed beasts better than Rob Lucci. As an agent of the world government, he had the honor of witnessing a tailed beast go crazy. I remember that time was in the territory of Charlotte Linlin, one of the 8 emperors of the New World. The Jinchuriki of the One-Tail Shikaku passed away, and the one tail, which was completely out of control, was just like a running husky, destroying everything in its path. Just the practice bullets that are the same as the infinite are enough to threaten the lives of people below the rank of lieutenant general. Not to mention, there is also the tailed beast ball, which is said to sink islands, destroy countries, collapse mountains, and split seas with one shot in the end. It was Big Mom, one of the 8 emperors of the New World, who personally came forward and fought with a one-tailed Shikaku on a deserted island full of sand for 3 days and 3 nights before she barely defeated Shikaku. Wait, calm down. I voluntarily give up this mission. Please don't do it. Rob Lucci's leopard tail reluctantly let Luffy go, begging for Naruto's forgiveness. In the chat room, Navy Colonel Gorilla, are you kidding? The strongest agent in the past 800 years promoted by the world government actually decided to give up so quickly. Tashigi, why do I always feel that the Navy in the parallel world likes to do things so recklessly? They even attack the agents of the world government. Rob Lucci, am I so sincere in the parallel world? I don't look like a top agent who has emerged from thousands of agents. Charlotte Linlin, well, that tailed beast actually dares to have fun on my territory. It's really annoying. Tokisaki Kurumi, tailed beast. Another new term, parallel worlds and the like, really always touch my heartstrings at this time. Naruto crossed his index fingers and formed a tiger seal. That won't work. I finally found a test subject. Of course he wants to accompany me to try this new trick. This is what Kakashi teacher secretly passed on to me. Naruto raised the corners of his mouth, revealing a malicious smile. Konoha's secret physical technique. Rob Lucci's face turned purple, and a word flashed through his mind. Me! Tailed beast Jinchuriki plus Konoha's secret taijutsu. Will the combined power of these forces completely sink the entire judicial island? No! We must stop this short. Yellow-haired guy! This idea flashed through Liu Kai's leopard brain almost instantly. He instantly used his razor to flash in front of Naruto, and was about to knock Naruto unconscious with a knife, subduing the Jinchuriki in front of him. But just as he got in front of Naruto, Lucci found that the yellow-haired boy had disappeared. I looked around but couldn't find the boy. Liu Kai showed a panic expression on his face. Logically speaking, as an agent of the world government, he should keep a calm attitude. To read the exciting novels, go to Falun Novel Network. But that's a tailed beast! The tailed beast that once bombarded Marijoa, destroyed dozens of kingdoms, and wreaked havoc on the territories of the 12 emperors! If these beasts go crazy, they will even dare to kill the celestial dragons! Almost in Lucci's blind spot, Uzumaki Naruto popped out with a bang. Naruto's mouth was harder to suppress than AK at this time, and his hands were still maintaining the previous tiger seal action. After seeing Rob Lucci, he mercilessly aimed at the back and used Konoha's secret taijutsu technique. No diarrhea for 1,000 years. The shot hit the leopard's face, which looked like a chrysanthemum, accurately, right in the center, hitting the bullseye. Uo. Liu Kai rolled his eyes. His expression looked quite sour. He covered his butt, jumped more than 8 meters high, and hit the roof directly. With a wound as big as a sandbag on his head, the little leopard lay on the ground. The muscles in his thighs were cramping, and his whole body was twitching in pain, as if he was still recalling the pain just now. The yellow-haired boy who did such a wicked thing didn't mind his hands being dirty at all, and even came close to smell it as if intoxicated. Not bad. It's quite high-quality stuff. Liu Kijun, who was standing by, rolled his eyes and fainted after hearing this. Haha, thank you. Huamao. Brother Luffy scratched his head and covered his butt with a shy look, not showing any of the bravery he had when he fought Rob Lucci before. After seeing Lucci's miserable condition, Luffy couldn't help but shudder. This is too cruel. Look at what Lucci has been tortured into. If he is guilty, please let Grandpa's iron fist of love punish him! I want to be the king instead of here enduring the 1,000-year diarrhea that this pervert may stab at any time. Charlotte Lingling, ha 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 ha. The yellow-haired kid in the parallel world is very creative. He can actually come up with such a dirty trick. Jan Taowen, this is simply a magical skill comparable to a block of iron. No, I strongly suggest that Marshal Zhang Guo include this move in the 6 styles of the Navy. Hi Cantina. Tina is very resistant. Although this can indeed improve the Navy's combat effectiveness, it will greatly damage the image of our Navy smoker. What image do you care about for pirates? I think that's the way it should be done. Gall D. Roger, I feel sorry for the leopard agent in the parallel world. Rocks D. Jibuk, I feel bad +1. Kaido, humph, this cheap trick can only deal with those without armament haki, but I can use armament haki in all directions. Chapter 97. 5 super large warships arrived at the outskirts of Judicial Island within half an hour. Lieutenant General Uchiha, do we need to order the destruction of the Judicial Island? The red-haired young man, with a huge gird on his back, crossed his arms and asked the Navy Vice Admiral Uchiha with a cold face. Being not Uchiha glanced at the Judicial Island in the distance, which was filled with the atmosphere of battle. A red light flashed in his eyes, and his observation haki sensed that the people in the CP9 department seemed to be in a state of decline. However, Uchiha did not immediately order the action to be taken, as if he had other considerations. The strange thing is that not only Uchiha, the moderate lieutenant general, but also the radical lieutenant generals on the other 4 warships did not choose to take action. Since Hashirama Senju became the marshal, it has become a consensus among all the Navy that the Demon Slayer Order should avoid the elderly, the weak, women, and children. There is no way. Even if the Hawks are unwilling to accept it, they can't beat the marshal. This is so embarrassing. On Vice Admiral Uchiha's warship, there was a man wearing a green eye mask lying on a beach chair, silently observing Judicial Island. One of the 12 admirals of the Navy exclamation. Although it is true that Spandam issued the demon-killing order, it is too much of a joke that 230 dispatched the Navy's demon-killing order just for Nico Robin. In fact, the real purpose of this demon-killing order is not to cooperate with CP9 to arrest people, but to catch a masked man who is stirring up trouble. This time, the Navy headquarters arranged the one-tailed Jinchuriki and the 9-tailed Jinchuriki as bait. The masked man who has captured the 3-tailed beasts will surely show up! In order to deal with the masked man, the Navy headquarters dispatched 2 admirals. Akinu Sakaski, what is the identity of the masked man? Is he worthy of the dispatch of 2 admirals? Is he also one of the 8 emperors of the New World? Buddha's warring states, the 12 admirals of the Navy. He just happens to be the target of the 12 emperors, and I am not the admiral of the Navy anymore. Akiji Kyuzan, the me in this parallel world will definitely make a big splash this time, defeat the masked man, and restore the reputation of the admiral. Charlotte Linling, well, is this the little kid who is acting wild on my turf? He looks pretty delicate and indifferent. Kaido of Beasts, Linling, are you attracted to him again? Rocks D. Gibber, Akfahaha, Lingling, how old are you? And you still like this type of handsome guy? Charlotte Lingling, Mama, you 2 guys, don't you like old women? Don't men like young and beautiful women? Why are you complaining to me here? This time, all the men on the sea were speechless. After all, no matter what age group men are, they generally like young and beautiful women. Of course, transsexuals are an exception. Oops. Zhang didn't even wait for me standing at a corner of the dock. Uzumaki Naruto held a dotale grass in his mouth and glanced at the 5 menacing warships. He was really a little scared. I'm here. What are you worrying about, kid? The 9 tails communicated with Naruto through strands of chakra. Master 9-tailed fox, it doesn't matter if you die. You'll just sleep somewhere else. When you close your eyes, you'll open them again. Hey, you'll be a free fox again. But when we ninjas die, we are truly dead. It is very difficult to save us. Uzumaki Naruto expressed his thoughts carelessly, but after waiting for a long time, he still didn't get a response from the 9 tails. It was not until half a minute had passed that Kyuubi sighed. Silly boy, tailed beasts can die too. Although the tailed beasts will not disappear after death, they will stay in the dark world without light waiting for rebirth, but the consciousness of the previous tailed beast is completely dead. The desolate and cold words entered Naruto's ears. However, Naruto did not show any expression of sadness for the tailed beasts, but smiled cheerfully. Really? I thought it was cool that the tailed beasts could be reborn after death, but I didn't expect there would be such a drawback. But this is only fair. Almost as Naruto finished speaking, a man wearing a white turbine mask and a black cloak appeared behind Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto didn't dare to move. He just stood there in a daze, cold sweat dripping down his back. No way, he just stayed here to enjoy the scenery, and someone came up to him to cause trouble. To read exciting novels, go to Feilu Novel Network. The one who could get so close to him without making any sound was definitely someone he couldn't contend with right now! Uchiha. The nine tails in Naruto's body recognized the identity of the person in front of him. No, to be precise, I recognized the person in front of me and what those eyes meant! The Sharingan has powerful abilities such as observation, copying, and hypnosis. The holder has extraordinary insight, can observe the flow of chakra, can cast and see through illusions, copy physical skills and non-bloodline limit ninjutsu, and what the person in front of him possesses is the main Jakaya, which is superior to the three Madatama Sharingan! Kyubai's heart sank, and he did not attack rashly. The main Jakaya Sharingan has the ability to control the tailed beasts. Although the nine tails now has a human pillar to cooperate with, it will not be easily controlled by the masked man. But this kid Naruto looks stupid. Can he cooperate with it? Rasengan. A powerful shout sounded, and a huge blue ball as big as a millstone was thrown out from the palm of the white-haired girl. The huge Rasengan drew an arc in the air, and the surrounding air seemed to be torn apart by its powerful momentum, making bursts of low sounds. Boom! The power of the shockwave shocked the whole place. The ground sank dozens of meters in an instant under its impact. The surrounding buildings and scenery were all shaken by this force. However, the masked man was nowhere to be seen. Naruto, are you okay? Kakashi, who had dyed white hair, did not use his intimate paradise this time, but looked around vigilantly. Sakura and Sasuke finally showed up at this time, holding kunai and guarding the surroundings. I'm fine, Kakashi-sensei, what are you doing? Kakashi explained the current situation. I just found out about this too. This time, Naruto, you were used as bait by Admiral Jinryo to lure out the masked man. Kakashi's tired and complaining voice reached Naruto's ears clearly. Naruto couldn't help but feel dumbfounded. No, who is so inhumane to use a child like him as bait? What a dog. Chapter 98. The son of Konoha White Fang? A man wearing a white turbine mask. As the ripples in space fluctuate, a figure appears in the twisted vortex. When he saw Kakashi, he couldn't help but reveal a nostalgic expression, as if he was very familiar with White Fang. Oh, do you know my father? Kakashi did not rush to take action, but calmly asked questions first. After all, the ability of the masked man is too strange. Even if two generals are present, I am afraid that they will not be able to control the masked man with spatial ability. White Fang, he's a guy with a very strong personality. The masked man shook his head and didn't explain too much to Kakashi. Instead, he stretched out an arm, which was dyed with pitch-black armament haki. The armament haki, whose hardness was comparable to that of steel, was flashing with various purple lightning! The highest level of armament haki, lightning. The lightning flash like teacher Kai immediately caught Kakashi's attention. Kakashi couldn't help but open his eyes wide and looked at the masked man with armed color domineering. I originally thought that the masked man was only relying on his spatial ability to commit crimes, but I didn't expect that he actually had such a hidden trick! Just relying on this top-level standard of armament haki, he can definitely fight against the 12 emperors! Reikiri. Although Kakashi was surprised that the masked man could use such a degree of power, he did not stand there in a daze. The shining electric light cut through the sky and aimed at the masked man's chest, ready to dig out his heart with a black tiger. Boom! The masked man did not use his previous hollowing technique, and with his armed haki, he punched Kakashi's decadent face accurately. At the moment when the fist had not yet hit the target, the expression on Kakashi's face was distorted by the impact. His face seemed to be deformed under the distortion of domineering power, as if he was bearing an unprecedented pressure. Even the trajectory of the Rikiri, which was supposed to fly in a straight line, was deviated due to the strong impact of this punch. A punch comparable to the thunderous Bagua hit Kakashi's face directly, causing Kakashi to cough up blood. It blasted backwards like a cannonball, hitting 9 large trees before it came to a stop. With just one punch, Elite Vice Admiral Kakashi was defeated! The masked man couldn't help but shook his head and said to Kakashi, "You are still far behind, White Fang. You should pick up the sword skills inherited from your family." The masked man gave Kakashi a lecture and did not kill him. Instead, he looked towards the dock. There, 8 figures seemed like monsters. Each of them had an aura no weaker than Kakashi's. What a nice observation, Haki. He noticed us so quickly. The mole held a sword and couldn't help but exclaimed, "The spider ghost is holding the cigar in his mouth, and holding 8 swords in his hands and hair. He looks very lethal." The armament Haki just now was not weak either, and could even be compared to Zephyr, who specialized in armament Haki, and Kaido of beasts. Aokiji, who was wearing a green eye mask, didn't say much. There was a constant stream of cold air coming out from under his feet, as if he was trying to freeze the masked man in front of him. However, the ice spreading from the ground did not have any effect on the masked man, who still stood firmly in the same place. Oh, they actually sent 2 admirals. The masked man raised his eyebrows slightly, without any nervousness, as if he was facing a great enemy, and it seemed that he did not take the 2 admirals seriously at all. Frozen time capsule. Aokiji stood still. The shocking cold air continued to spread along with his thoughts, and he attacked the masked man in a straight line. However, when he was about to touch the masked man gently stretched out his hand, and the strong-armed color domineering flashed with terrifying purple lightning, easily blocking Aokiji's move. In terms of the ability of cold air, he is still some distance away from the second in command of Tushin. The masked man glanced at Aokiji with disdain and said, "Did he actually block the general's attacks so easily? It seems that the information is wrong. He is not an idiot who only relies on spatial ability to commit crimes." Admiral Jin Ryo, who went to Judicial Island with Aokiji, finally spoke, his red eyes fixed on the person in front of him. Wearing a cloak of justice, with a cold light flashing in his eyes, Senju Hashirama took a step forward. "0 request for flowers. 0 born evil Uchiha brat. No matter who you are, I, Senju Hashirama, will punish you." To read the exciting novels, go to Falu Novel Network. After saying that, Senju Hashirama took out dozens of flying thunder god kunai from the ceiling scroll and threw them all out in a cool manner. Flying thunder god technique. The masked man showed some interest. His muscles bulged, and lightning chakra instantly covered his body. A ball of chakra like a thunderstorm constantly stimulated the activity of his body. Is this the lightning chakra mode of the Cloud Ninja branch? Stalobri was surprised and did not act rashly. Instead, he watched the battle between the 2 generals. The hidden is really deep. Clearly before, he used the main Jakaio's pupil power to suppress the tailed beast, and then used the whirlpool-like spatial ability to pull it into another dimension. Kyuzen stared at the man in front of him with his solemn eyes, and did not take it lightly. Top-notch armament Haki, strange spatial ability, proficient in lightning release ninjutsu, and even able to use the secret moves of the Izumo ninja branch. This man is even more powerful than the Reikage! Uchiha Sasuke couldn't help but grit his teeth secretly. "You are the born evil thousand hands ghost Uchiha provokes you!" Uchiha Sasuke was quite dissatisfied with what Tobirama Senju said just now. In the previous life, it was because of this old den that people had many misunderstandings about Uchiha. Many people lost interest in contacting him just by hearing his name Uchiha Sasuke in the past. People even regarded Uchiha as a representative of mental illness, extremism, and evil. Just in time to be beaten up by the masked man! As for whether the masked man can really beat up the 2 generals when facing them, Uchiha Sasuke never doubted this. He is proficient in the lightning chakra mode, has cultivated the 3-color Haki to the peak, is invincible in physical skills, and can even open up to 7.5 gates of the 8 gates. Those kaleidoscopes and weird spatial abilities are just the icing on the cake. How could such a masked man not be able to defeat 2 generals? Chapter 99. Fei Yixing stood there in a daze, looking at the 2 generals who were attacking frantically, and couldn't help muttering, "Good. Awesome." That's right. In Fei Zan's opinion, isn't it really amazing? Under the crazy flash of Senju Tabarama, he was still able to keep up with his speed, and even used his observation haki to foresee the future, causing Senju Tabarama to have several more fist wounds. Even when General Aokiji joined the battlefield, he still failed to crush the masked man. The blessing brought by the lightning chakra mode is far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. The masked man, whose attack power and reaction speed have been improved to a higher level, is much more difficult to deal with than expected. Weak. Really too weak. Although the Flying Thunder God technique is considered the fastest technique, the 437 force of this attack is still not concentrated enough. The masked man shook his head in contempt, and his fist wrapped in blue-purple lightning exceeded the speed of sound, almost hitting the hairy Senju Tabarama. Unfortunately, Senju Tabarama narrowly avoided the attack. Even Tabarama Senju, who is known as the fastest man in the ocean, couldn't help but frown. If you just use physical skills, it's really too disadvantageous. Humph. It's just a stronger form of physical training. Although Senju Tabarama showed disdain, he still recognized the difficulty of the enemy in front of him. There are very few strong people who are proficient in both haki and ninjutsu on the sea. For some reason, if you master the ninjutsu system, it is difficult to cultivate top-level haki. So far, there are only 2 people who can use earth-shattering ninjutsu and at the same time use the top-level 3 colors of domineering. One is Hashirama Senju, who inherited the Cloak of Justice and vowed to wipe out all the pirates on the sea. The other person is Uchiha Madara, who gathered several sea emperors and secretly made trouble. Therefore, generally speaking, if you want to cultivate top-notch geniuses, you usually first teach the haki system, and when the haki is cultivated to the peak, you can get in touch with the ninjutsu system. Oh, you want to use ninjutsu? The masked man was slightly surprised, but his fist was not slow at all, and he directly hit Aokiji. The strong collision between the 2 sides caused a drastic change in air pressure, and even the buildings on Judicial Island were affected and flew into the air. The sky suddenly became dark and overcast, as if the whole world was shaking. The surrounding air currents were raging wildly, like a violent storm that could not be contained. Sasuke gritted his teeth and managed to stabilize his body, catching Uzumaki Naruto, who was flying in the air. Ow. Even though he flew into the air, Naruto did not forget Sakura behind him and held her soft and boneless little hand in his palm. A blue light flashed under Fei Yixing's feet. This was using the absorption of chakra to forcibly stabilize her body. Oh, this is a bit embarrassing. The white-haired girl looked back and saw her teammates blown into a mess by the strong wind. She couldn't help but sigh. If it was Kurumi who was here, she would definitely be able to tease him easily, right, instead of being like these 3 guys, either yelling or making a scene. Naruto, let me go. Even though he was saved by the yellow-haired boy, Sakura did not show any gratitude at all. Instead, he angrily shouted at Naruto, "No way. I won't abandon my friends." Naruto showed a determined smile, laughing secretly in his heart. Wow, this little hand is so smooth and soft. Senju Tabarama stood firmly in place, with his hands folded across his chest, looking like a strong man. The index finger of his left hand, which was folded in front of his chest, raised slightly, and an orange-red eyeshadow appeared on Senju Tabarama's face. Myaboku Mountain. Sage mode! Oh, sage mode. The masked man stepped on Aokiji's face and kicked him away, looking at Senju Tabarama. It's not Aokiji's fault that he's weak. It's just that the masked man knows Aokiji too well. That's why he can find the flaw in a short time and kick Aokiji in the face. If the fight lasts for a while, then it will definitely work. A spark of passion ignited between Kyuzen's feet and the ground, and he plowed dozens of meters before finally stopping. To read the exciting novels, go to Falu Novel Network. Be careful, Thousand Hands General Zero. Aokiji looked unhappy and reminded in front of colleagues. Being kicked away or even suppressed by a guy who concealed his identity is really too embarrassing. It is stronger than Kizaru's taijutsu, the masked man exclaimed, and then thought of a sneaky kid, and his face darkened. After Senju Tabarama entered the sage mode, he quickly formed seals with both hands. The surrounding air seemed to be compressed by an invisible force, and the water element was highly concentrated, forming an ultra-high-pressure water line. Immortal water escape technique, water-breaking waves. With a sharp sound of breaking through the air, an almost invisible white light shot out from the mouth of Senju Tabarama. This water line, at a speed far exceeding the speed of sound, cut through the sky like a laser of death. Brush exclamation, a white light flashed, and a neat sword mark appeared on the ground. The masked man's body seemed to be fine, and that was indeed the case. He had been planning to use his armament haki to resist, but for some reason he felt a sense of crisis, and finally used his hollow. An attack that didn't hit him would naturally have no effect on him. Is that all? Looking at the faint straight line on the ground, the masked man couldn't help but laugh out loud. 0.0 This doesn't look like a general's attack at all. But soon, the masked man could no longer laugh. Click exclamation with a loud bang. The entire island seemed to be split by a giant sword. The buildings on the island were instantly split in two, and even the sea water from the deep surged up, forming a spectacular fountain. Of course, these are not the most important. The most important thing was that the masked man's mask, which looked like a white turbine, was hit by the cold light generated by the residual moisture in the air, and a crack appeared on it. IC. Two-stage attack. First, use the high-pressure water line to transform into a powerful water blade to cut, and then take advantage of the enemy's unpreparedness to use natural energy to connect the moisture in the air to form a sharp blade to attack again. The masked man seemed to understand the current situation and temporarily covered his face with a black cloak. My mother. Thien Fonxes. Chapter 100. White Turbine's mask has a crack. Looking forward to seeing you next time. The masked man shrugged his shoulders and did not insist on fighting the two men to the end. After all, there are two generals here, and the Jinchuriki can't take them away. I'll find another chance next time. As the vortex appeared, the masked man disappeared from the spot. Hey, Navy, I clearly launched the demon-slaying order. Why are you here only now? A noisy and clamorous voice seemed to stand out in the silent battlefield. On the sinking judicial island, CP9 idiot Commander Spandam finally appears. Shut up. Senju Tabarama gave Spandam a cold look, which frightened him so much that he dared not move. The 5 vice admirals were expressionless and were very dissatisfied with CP9 under the world government. Isn't it just a little Nico Robin? How can a mere past history be considered a bullshit threat? Could it be possible to destroy the ocean after it is announced? Now the focus 02 should be on the masked man! Exclamation. God knows what kind of contract he has reached with Uchiha Madara, and what kind of plan Uchiha Madara, who has already collected the 3-tailed beasts, will implement. Rocks D. Jibek, ha 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 ha. It seems that the Navy with 12 admirals doesn't care about the world government at all. Charlotte Linlin, well, this is normal. I don't care about those dogs in the world government at all now. Fujitora smiled. If it is such a navy, maybe it can really achieve the 800 years of chaos and end the so-called Great Pirate Era. When Fujitora saw the navy on the sky, his heart was moved. After all, such a strong navy that doesn't even care about the world government will definitely be able to implement justice to the end. Only such a navy can make the flag of justice fill every corner of the sea. Miss Tokisaki Kurumi is not interested in the so-called justice at all, and her eyes are all focused on the red-clothed Hibiki. Hibiki, in such a dangerous sea, it must be very difficult for you who have lost your angel. The seductive lips exude a fragrant aroma, and Kurumi, who only shows her right eye, can't help but worry about the red-clothed Hibiki. I hope this damn sky curtain can ask random questions soon. Ah la, it's Sang. It's been a long time since we last saw each other. It's exactly the same as it was 10 years ago. There's no growth at all. When Aokiji saw a girl with white hair and silly hair, he scratched his head lightly and said a few casual words. Damn it. Who are you saying has not grown? Fei Yixing could hardly control the violence in her heart. Her long white hair fluttered wildly. Fei Yixing clenched her fists unhappily, and a crunching sound came from the girl's body. As an elf, is it wrong to stop growing? Can this world still be better? Be more friendly to people like her at the airport! Ah la la la. You are still as bad-tempered as before. Kyuzan smiled slightly, but he didn't take the angry state of Hibiki to heart. Instead, he said to the 5 lieutenant generals beside him, although the mission failed, we did get to know the details of the masked man. In terms of combat, he mainly uses 2-color domineering, is proficient in lightning chakra mode, and is a powerful physical warrior. Aokiji paused for a moment, thought for a moment, and added another. He likes to use old-fashioned words to teach others a lesson, as if he is an old antique who has lived for many years. Lieutenant General Mole recorded the information on paper, and combined it with some details he had just observed, and added, your name is Uchiha Sasuke. Senju Hashirama frowned slightly, looking at the little ghost in front of him who was hostile to him, and his body was shocked on the spot. Good man, you are worthy of being an evil Uchiha kid. You actually dare to show such strong hostility towards me! Even Aokiji beside him was not spared. No, this Uchiha brat with such a strong grudge must not be let off easily. To read the exciting novel, go to Falu Novel Network. What Senju Hashirama didn't know was that there was a reason why Uchiha Sasuke had such deep resentment in his previous life, because of the nonsense that Senju Hashirama said to Uchiha Itachi. That bastard Uchiha Itachi exterminated the entire Uchiha clan in Wano country. It was simply insane! That newborn is simply not a human being! Even a majestic father and a kind mother could do this to him! When Sasuke thought of Itachi, he was so angry that his liver hurt. It's all because of Senju Hashirama, that bastard who was prejudiced against Uchiha. That Uchiha has reached this point! As for why he is hostile to Aokiji, that's even easier. Of course, it's because Aokiji actually dared to tease Hibiki just now! This alone is enough for Uchiha Sasuke to cut him into pieces hundreds of times! Have the Straw Hat Pirates evacuated? Doberman, smoking a cigar, asked the head of CP9. Spandam bowed his head in flattery and reported to Doberman, that's right, Mr. Vice Admiral, it's all the fault of those useless people from CP9. They caused the Straw Hat Pirates to escape like this. Doberman ignored Spandam, a fool with poor ability and bad character. Instead, he closed his eyes and used his observation haki to feel the breath of life on Judicial Island. Well, yes, all the members of CP9 are still alive this time. Doberman heard from Admiral Ake knew that each of the CP9s trained by the world government has special skills. If you can recruit the Navy, try to get one. By the way, Kyuzan, Old Man Garp's grandson, has caused a big disaster this time. What are you going to do? Hibiki seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes rolled around, and she gave Uchiha Sasuke a look. That look means, look at me. I will definitely help you get your lover out. Apparently, Hibiki misunderstood the relationship between Sasuke and Luffy. Ever since Sasuke told her not to be cruel to Luffy, Hibiki understood everything. Ah la la. Maybe he will be captured first and then locked up in Impel Down. Aokiji was perfunctory, with a hint of nostalgia in his eyes. Nico Robin, how far can you go? I hope you won't let me and Zoro down. My mother. Thien Fonxes. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.